If you know, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If you can remain standing, Bob Barnett, our police chaplain, is here. Give us our invocation.
Lord God, we're always grateful for the people that gather here to bring a wealth of knowledge and experience to the needs of our community. We ask a blessing upon this night. We ask that your wisdom would be displayed. And we're mindful, Lord, of those tonight to be honored for their service to the community and the blessings they bring. In the name of the Lord, amen.
You may be seated. Jennifer Vaughn, are you here? I know you're here to speak on behalf of the Southern California Gas Company and give us an update. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Can I use this right here?
Yep.
Thank you so much, Mayor and council members, for having me here this evening. I just wanted to give you a brief update on our storage field and then bring it home with some projects that are happening here, specifically in Santa Ana, that you would be interested in. So as you know, at our storage field up in Aliso Canyon last year, we had a leak that was at our largest field, which contains 64% of our overall capacity to reach all of our customers. So if you didn't know already, 60% of all of the electricity produced here in California is generated with natural gas. So as you probably understand, having that storage field now down since last year makes a great impact to our customers and basically everybody in California that uses electricity. Fortunately, we are doing everything we can to bring that facility back online. We've been inspecting and testing all of the wells, and once we get final approval, we hope to bring that back online to be able to serve our customers. The good news is that while this was a very unfortunate incident, now people do realize the connection between natural gas and electricity, and they realize how important it is to bring it back online. One of the efforts that we did embark on was partnering with cities such as yourself to spread the word on how to conserve energy, and that did get us through the summer. We also need to make it through the winter, however, without curtailments. So I ask that you continue to save that message and want to thank you, and I'll give you some examples of some of the things that we're partnering with together. One of which we have going underway is a natural gas vehicle filling station at your city yard that we are working with you on. And then we've also undertaken some energy efficiency measures to your various facilities and getting better equipment that's energy efficient and rebates for pool covers. So it saves you money as well as gas. In fact, you have a Santa Ana-based business called NOR Services. I don't know if you saw the email I sent earlier this morning, which was a press release. We honored one of your businesses here who makes pool covers, and they alone over the last year handed out 27 rebates totaling up to $160,000. So thank you for that. That is extremely helpful. One of the other things that we're doing is, this is extremely good news for you guys here. On the corner of Chestnut and Grand, you know we have our 4 transmission lines that we are always inspecting, and we purchased the gas station there. So finally, once we get that mitigation underway and we move our facilities onto that property, we will be able to conduct all of our pipeline safety inspections right there without having to excavate on the streets and impacting your residents and the school district right there on the corner. Like I said, I just wanted to remind you that now that people are aware of that connection between natural gas and electricity, the good news is that we are learning from the mistakes that happened, and we hope that by bringing natural gas back in the limelight, we are going to be able to help California solve their, or be the solution in their very aggressive environmental goals. As you know, the governor has signed a few new pieces of legislation that want to reduce both carbon emissions and NOx, and natural gas is just one of the many ways that we can help with that. I'm sure you're aware that heavy-duty trucks are one of the biggest culprits of emissions, and there's a natural gas engine that's 90% cleaner than diesel. So we just look to you to continue to help us spread the word, and remember that I'm a resource to you. If you have any questions about anything that we can help you with, please use me as a resource. And I do have some handouts for you if you need some additional detail about our storage facility. And I'll take any questions if you have any.
Do council members have any questions? Well, let me just, on behalf of the council, thank you. I know you're doing a wonderful job, Jennifer. Gas is something we take for granted, but when it's not there, it's kind of like electricity or water. Your whole life changes. Try taking a cold shower sometime. You'll know what I'm talking about, or a cold house in the winter. So, thank you for that, and thank you for the good service.
Thank you for your time.
Now, it's my pleasure to have a presentation that I'm going to do in conjunction with Councilor Michelle Martinez. It's the Exceptional Service Award. It's for Lewis Whitehead, his contributions to establishing the Orange County Rescue Mission and providing 25 years of outstanding service. So let me have her take the lead. I'll join her, and then we'll continue with our presentations.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If I can please have Mr. Whitehead's family. I know they are here. If they could please join us. His daughters, Sandra, Marcia, Caroline, and Diane Cunningham. Come around. And I'm going to wait, and good evening, I'm going to wait until they do come up here, because this is a very special recognition, as our mayor said. 25 years ago, they established the Orange County Rescue Mission. But before I go into, this presentation, let me say hello first. I wanted to read something, and I think it's very timely, and it comes from the Reverend William Barber, and I think we're all very familiar with the Reverend William Barber, who recently was at the Democratic Convention, and he had the opportunity to speak, and he said some very powerful words that I believe are important, and the work that your father did here in Orange County, and so it is timely for me to read this. First off, I do want to thank our Reverend William Barber for calling on us not to give up on the heart of our democracy. In this season, when someone wants to harden and stop the heart of our democracy, we are being called, like our foremothers, our fathers, to be the moral defibrillators of our time. We must shock this nation with the power of love. We must shock this nation with the power of mercy. We must shock this nation and fight for justice for all. We can't give up on the heart of our democracy, not now and not ever. And I get emotional and very difficult to say this, because the work that has been done by this family has made a significant difference, and I do want to thank them for bringing this to our attention, to honor the work that this man committed to wanting and to ensuring that we do care, that we do have a heart. And he was able to do that 25 plus years ago, and his legacy continues today, because we are here, and he has his children, and and I'm aware of all the great work that they all have done, and I want to congratulate you and give you a round of applause. And I'm going to let the mayor speak, but I did want to make mention a couple things. So Reverend Lewis Whitehead was the founder and former director of the Orange County Rescue Mission. Near the end of a 20-year career in the Marine Corps, he became a member of the First Baptist Church in Santa Ana and was ordained as minister in 1962 and began ministering to the poor. He was instrumental in bringing issues of chronic homelessness in Orange County to the forefront of public policy discussions during the 1960s and the 1970s. During the late 1970s, he came before the Santa Ana City Council many times to advocate on behalf of his center and the issues related to homelessness. And what I read earlier and what we're doing here today in honoring his legacy and the importance as policymakers that when we are addressing issues of policy dealing with the homelessness, this is not the first time that our community has come to this city council. I just read that in the 60s and the 70s, he came before. Mr. Mayor, I don't think you were here in the 60s and 70s, right? You didn't make it here to the 1990s. But it is to tell you that this issue that we are facing today is not new. And we will continue to fight and champion, but ensuring that we do have a heart of democracy and that we respect those out there that need our support and our love. And so again, it's with great honor to recognize not only your father, but your entire family for the contributions, not only in Santa Ana, but to Orange County. Thank you for your leadership and your father for the exceptional work that he did all these years in Orange County. Amen.
You know, once it's all said and done, I think it's what you do for others that matters. And, you know, Reverend Lewis was such a wonderful man. He was such a passionate person. And he had such, you know, persistence. You know, fighting something so difficult like the homeless problems, you know, you need spirit behind you. You need religion. You need God. You need, you know, to really believe. And Reverend Lewis Whitehead, I think, was just such a wonderful, wonderful man to be able to do that. And even though it's to his family, if he were here today, I would be presenting this to him, which is a special Exceptional Citizen Award, because, you know, those are the folks that make a difference. People that are exceptional in nature, that motivate others, that can bring people together and change lives. And in particular today, I want to thank my fellow councilor, Michelle Martinez, because you really led the way on this one, Michelle. I know we're doing it together, but I commend you and your leadership for you know, recognizing this and caring about this and being committed to making a difference. Thank you, Michelle. If y'all come a little bit closer here, get real close. We have several whereases which talk about, you know, the beautiful person and life that Reverend Lewis Whitehead was and the change that he made. And, you know, because of all those whereases, let me tell you that this proclamation states that on behalf of the City Council, it is my privilege and honor to present this to you as his family for the outstanding service, for the community leadership, and for the many contributions that he made to this community. And as Michelle pointed out, it went beyond Santa Ana, throughout Orange County, inspiring others. So, you know, please, when you say a prayer for him next, remember that here is a city that very much appreciates him, appreciates you, appreciates the great work that he has done and that you are doing. Thank you very much. You want to say a few words? You want to say a few words? And then we'll take a picture. Who wants to talk?
The oldest.
The eldest is being selected.
I'd like to thank all of you for this honor. I mean, we really appreciate it. It's been 26 years that he's been gone, passed away. And because my daughter, Sharon, has worked so hard to get honor where honor is due. And I appreciate all of the city council that you guys were quick to jump on this. It only took less than a month. I mean, you know, that
We meet twice a month.
so that was really wonderful. So, it's just amazing. I never would have thought that it could happen this quick, that we would be able to honor him, and you guys would move so fast on this. Thank you so much.
Well, let's take a picture together here. Sure. Like this. What's in our makeup? There we go. All right. Should we bring that mic down? Got it? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. God bless you. Thank you. Okay. Okay, yep.
I think I have the honor of the next presentation. We have a representative here from the Alzheimer's organization here in Orange County, recognizing September is World Alzheimer's Awareness Month. Why don't you please come around here? I believe this is Jennifer Funes representing the... why don't you say a few words and then I'll present this proclamation to you.
Good evening, everyone. On behalf of Alzheimer's Orange County, I want to thank the mayor and city council members of the city of Santa Ana for recognizing September as World Alzheimer's Awareness Month. With more than 47 million people worldwide living with Alzheimer's, we're so grateful for your help in raising awareness about this devastating disease. We would also like to thank the city of Santa Ana for acknowledging the work of Alzheimer's Orange County. Since 1982, Alzheimer's Orange County has been dedicated to providing quality care, free services, education, and support for people and families coping with dementia. Additionally, we raise our own local budget revenue every year, where 100% of our dollars raised stay local. Again, we want to thank Mayor and the City Council members of the City of Santa Ana for joining Alzheimer's Orange County as we recognize World Alzheimer's Awareness Month. Thank you.
You know, Alzheimer's is one of those invisible diseases that you kind of can't see, yet it's the fourth leading cause of death currently in Orange County. There's like 84,000 people in the county suffering from this disease, and it impacts not only the victims, but families. You know, the spouses, the sons, the daughters, everybody gets impacted. And the work that you're doing, I had an opportunity to visit your center some time back, and it's absolutely amazing. The support groups, you know, some of the research that's going on, and really the efforts to help the family members cope with the effects of this disease to their loved ones. So for all your work and the work that you're doing to research and to bring awareness, let me present this proclamation in your honor and proclaim, you know, World Alzheimer's Awareness Month is the month of September. So thank you for your work and keep up the good work. Take care. She forgot something. Go ahead. Oh, she wants this photo in the, or this in the photo. It says, "I love Alzheimer's Orange County."
Mayor, here you go. A few of the members of the council wore blue in honor
Even if you didn't wear blue, come on down. You really wore blue, David, or is this a coincidence? I know you got something blue, but was it intentional?
Yes, it was. It was.
All right, I got to believe him. Since now we're going to go on to the next one, and that belongs to Mayor Pro Tem Vince Sarmiento, so let me turn it over to him.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If I could have the students, parents, and teachers and sponsors from Youth on the Move Summer School Program join me up here, and I believe Dr. Pat Adelkin, if you can come up and join me up here. So as they're coming up, I'm going to give them the floor so they can talk more about the program, because I know that they have some recognitions and some awards to give to some of the students. And let me just tell you what we're recognizing tonight. So there was an essay contest that was conducted, and first, second, third, and fourth place were won by these students. So we want to say congrats to all you guys, right? And somebody's going to be reading an essay pretty soon, so we're going to get ourselves ready for that. But let me tell you what Youth on the Move is. And so it's a 501c3. It was founded in 1986 by Dr. Patricia Adelkin. And they've been sponsored throughout this process and throughout this program by the Santa Ana Kiwanis Club and Linda Jackals. So thank you, sponsors, for being such strong supporters of the program. And what this program does is it offers help to kids that are English as second language learners. So it helps improve their and strengthen their language arts skills. And most of the teachers volunteer and staff these multilingual classes, not just to the students, but to the parents as well. And on August the 6th, just this past August, the students and families and friends and teachers gathered to celebrate the Summer Essay Contest winners. So we wanted to bring them here, introduce them to you, have you listen to their stories, and recognize all the good work that they've been doing. And this is a real positive way for students to have spent part of their summer, because we know that summers are long, and they're important for kids to be doing good things, and we see that over there by some of the foldouts that the kids did. So I want you all to join me in congratulating the winners, the essay winners, the parents, teachers, and sponsors, because it took all of them to make this program a success. So give them all a big round of applause, please. But before we go on and turn the mic over to Dr. Adelkin, I want to turn the mic over to somebody who's very important, who's joining us here tonight, and I think Mauricio Herrera is here to read his essay, which is titled, "My Mom is the Best Mom I Ever Had." So that's a pretty good title already. So I'm going to drop the mic. Mauricio, you're going to speak in your loudest voice and your clearest voice. Let us enjoy your essay.
Hi, my name is Mauricio Herrera, and this is an essay about my mother. I wrote this essay out of the I picked this essay out of the six I did, because this is about my mother, and she's the greatest parent I ever had. Now I'm going to start it. My mother, the greatest parent I ever had. My mother is so nice because she's lovable and a great cook. She works a lot. Also, my mom is pretty and nice. My mom is lovable because she always gives us hugs and is nice to us. My mom always congratulates us by giving us candy. She is great. She is a great worker. She works on keeping us safe. She is great because she helps us cross the street. My mom is a great worker because she always gives us medicine when we are sick. She is nice because she always gives money to homeless people. She's also nice because she always compliments us when we are doing homework. My mom is nice because she donates clothes to people that don't have many. That is why my mom is the greatest parent ever.
So Mauricio, where's your mom? She's right there. I want to meet her because after that, man. I want some candy. Some candy. Bienvenida. Y muchas gracias por acompañarnos. Felicidades en tener un hijo tan bueno y gracias por estar aquí con nosotros, acompañarnos aquí en su casa de usted. Let's give the mom a big round of applause. So if that's an example of what you guys did this summer, what a great summer, right? So thank you, sponsors. Thank you, Kiwanis Club. Thank you, Linda Jackals, for everything that you all did. And let me have Dr. Adelkin please come and address us. And I know she's got some gifts to give as well. Thank you for coming. Your floor is yours.
Makes tears come to your eyes when the children write from their hearts. It takes a village. It takes a village to bring up a child. One parent, two parents just cannot do it. And you see here, this is a village. It's a multi-age village. We have the seniors, we have the young people, and it's multicultural. What an honor it was. These are the beliefs of Youth on the Move, which started 30 years ago to help youth succeed in life with the help of positive community role models. It could be the truck driver, the car repairman, the doctor, the lawyer. Everybody has a role and a talent to play in the lives of other people, especially youth. Since then, we have been all over the world, touching the lives of literally thousands and thousands of children. We have many stories. It's a nonprofit youth group. We've been here in Santa Ana for 30 years. And we're here today mainly because of people like Congresswoman Loretta Sanchez, whose representative is here, and I'd like her to come and say something on behalf of the Congresswoman. Yes.
I think the Kiwanis Club, we can have the Kiwanis Club here as well because you're part of this.
Come. We could not have done this without the Kiwanis Club and the generosity of Jacob. And Dr. Katami, would you bring, this is another person, he is a Tuskegee Airman, he is a blind veteran. He has taken time to come and talk to our young people. Can you come up, please? Yes, yes. When he met the young people, he said, I just must be there. His name is Chaplain Alexander.
Let me put the mic over here in front of you. Go
His
ahead.
name is Chaplain Alfonso Jackson, and he is a veteran. He's a blind veteran, and he's president of the Blind Veterans Association. Give him another round of applause for Tuskegee Airmen. Can you hold on just 1 second? This is from Loretta Sanchez's office, Beatrice Mendoza. Good friend.
Thank you very much. Unfortunately, the Congresswoman could not be here today, but she wants to commend all of you for doing the work that you do. The parents, los padres por todo su trabajo que hacen, the students, great job you guys with the essays, and everybody involved. Thank you so much, Kiwanis, for being sponsors to the events that Youth on the Move has. In fact, I think we have a past honoree, Councilmember Tinajero, who was one of the awardees. So congratulations on behalf of Congresswoman Loretta Sanchez, and please continue doing the great work that you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you. So we have something for you at a later time. And can we have Chaplain Alfonso Jackson say something to us?
I'll make it short, sweet, and quick. Hello, it's an honor to be here. I wouldn't miss the kids for nothing because this is their time. I've had mine. God bless you all. God bless America.
Certificates. Tuskegee Airmen with their plane and their logo. Very nice. One for each child. Wonderful. It says the Tuskegee Airmen Incorporated award this certificate of appreciation to Mauricio Herrera for personal effort and support of Lieutenant Colonel Alfonso Jefferson, Colin Dryden, Greater Augusta Chapter of the Tuskegee Airmen. Thank you. As we said, there are many seniors. We have an International Educators Hall of Fame with retired educators and longtime educators. We induct them because someone has nominated them and told them that this human being does more than the call of duty as an educator. And that's how we have our own Mr. Sal Tinajero. Could you stand up? He was inducted in the first one we had here in Orange County. At Chapman University. There's a Dr. Versi Burns, Margaret Ware, Dr. Tammy Katami, Dr. Essie French Preston, who also are part of this honor. At this time, I'd like to give it to my Kiwanis friends. Is that all right?
Sure, let's go ahead.
We thank you very much. One more person from the Kiwanis, our new president. Hey, Lily.
Good evening, everybody. I'm the incoming president for the Kiwanis Club of Santa Ana, effective October 1st. So I'm really excited to take this role and to collaborate with everybody here because we're doing amazing things with Santa Ana and our youth. And this is just one example of the many things that we get to do to help empower this city. So thank you.
So you guys have some really neat awards that you're going to be receiving right now from the Congresswoman, from the Tuskegee Airmen, but more importantly, from all the people in the city who love you guys, right? So you guys did a great job. Nice job, Mauricio. I like that reading. So you may be up here one day very, very soon. So with that, thank you, Dr. Adelican, and thank you all, Armando, Mrs. Rivas, and Luis and Beatriz and everybody else, and the parents. Muchas gracias a ustedes por apoyar este esfuerzo y este programa tan importante, and to the teachers and everybody who lent their time. Mrs. Jackals, thank you so much. But let's give them all a big round of applause on a job well done.
I'd like one of the parents to say something.
Sure.
And the mother, she can do that.
All right, so we want to have one last comment from somebody. Let's get a parent up here. So come on up.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Marisol Martinez. I'm a parent of Ariana and Carlo Martinez. This is our first time getting our kids. It's a little bit hard because we were so frustrated with not being able to help them the way they needed to be helped, because it's different. The type of education that we had in our countries is totally different than the education that they have here. And me as a parent, I was getting very frustrated, so I had to look for a tutor, which thank God we found Dr. Pat, who's been able to help us and the whole team. And now I'm thankful because my daughter is not as stressed as she was before. And I know it takes an effort, and I know our lives are busy here and we're running, but my message to the world is that try to spend some time with your kids. Try to go far and beyond and look for help, because there's help. There's help for everyone. On Christmas last year, my daughter asked Santa Claus for a new brain because she thought that she was not going to be able to make it. She thought that she was not getting enough help help to do her homework, and that's when I felt frustrated. But I found help with Dr. Path, and now, like I said, my message to the world is that don't give up. Just keep it up. Keep looking for help. There's help out there. And the help that we can do is just pay attention to your kids. Listen to what they say, because they can do a lot more. They can be majors. They can be right here if you help them. But if you're not there for them, then they're going to get lost. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, the major. Thank you, the whole team, for all this help. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
So I'm going to give these out very quickly. I guess they call you Dr. Pat, right? So, okay, Dr. Pat, this is for you. Thank you very, very much on behalf of the city. Mrs. Jackals, here you go. Where are you? There you are. Thank you very much. And for the Kiwanis Club, so I'm a former fellow Kiwanian, so here you go. Thank you so much for all your help.
Thank you.
And we have these certificates for the kids as well, so hopefully you bundle them up with the Congresswoman's and the one from the Tuskegee Airmen. So you guys have got a lot of new artwork to put up on your walls. All right, let's give them a big round of applause. Thank you all.
And now I'm going to ask Councilmember Martinez to join Mayor Pro Tem Sarmiento for the next presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And so if I could have Hilda Garcia and Mike Lopez come and join us up here in the well. And my colleague, Councilwoman Martinez, I'm going to give her the floor real quickly because I'm going to talk about our voter registration effort. But I want to thank her for always remembering to recognize this month, September, as Latino Voter Registration Month. So she reminded me that nobody has to remind her, she reminds us. But Councilwoman Martinez, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about the history behind this?
Yes, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Sarmiento. If I can please have those who are going to be receiving the award, if we could have Hilda Garcia, the political coordinator, and Mike Lopez, our local SEIU. Mike, are you still the president? Yeah, right. Mike's still the president. Great. Good guy. So, there's this saying, and I was just recently at a Metropolitan Water District meeting, and the month of September we are celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month, and I'll be doing that soon after. But we give the opportunity of the employees to really do an invocation and really speak about the work that they're doing at the Metropolitan Water District. And a young woman had the opportunity to present, and she wanted to share, what's happening with Hispanic Heritage Month and how the Metropolitan Water District has played a significant role in her career. And she started off saying, are you ready? And then in Spanish, the saying, estamos listos. And so for many of us that are on the board, not everyone, knew Spanish. So she had to say, are you ready? And then estamos listos. And I remember that. And I'm saying this today because we have a very historic election. And when we look at voter registration and the importance in ensuring that it doesn't matter if you're from the right or from the left, that you have a civic duty and a responsibility in this country to register to vote, exercise your right to vote. Many people in the 60s put their life on the line to give many the right to vote. And not too long ago, we also celebrated Women's Suffrage Day and giving women, not too long ago, 100 or so years ago, women were not eligible to vote. And so much progress is here and in front of us. And as we celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month, it's only right as well to making sure that we do all we can to encourage, the Latino community to also register to vote. So it's with great pride that the SEIU, Mi Familia Vota, in partnership, again with SEIU, is urging elected officials, cities, counties across the country who are working together to declare September as Latino Voter Registration Month. Elected officials across the country will join together in a day of action on September 27th. The day of action will coincide with the National Voter Registration Day, a public civic engagement and education campaign by advocacy groups and organizations representing workers and communities of all color with Hispanic Heritage Month, where we recognize the contributions of Latinos in the United States and celebrate the Latino culture and heritage. I had the great honor last year to be the president of NALEO, the National Association of Latino Elected Officials, and I traveled the country last year and really encouraging, because our mission is to making sure that every Latino is able to participate in the democratic process. And one of those ways is to ensuring that they have the opportunity, one, to register to vote, and then if they so choose to go cast their vote in an election like one that we are having this November. So it's with great pride to know that our brothers and sisters in the union movement are helping with this effort and the importance. And so I want to commend SEIU and Mi Familia Vota for making sure that you all continue to do this work. So not only this September, but next September, because at the end of the day, we cannot continue to just register during presidential elections, but it has to continue all year round. And I know Mayor Pro Tem Sarmiento is going to speak about that and the effort here with civic engagement within our own city and our own community. Mayor Pro Tem Sarmiento.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Thank you, Ila. Thank you, Mike, for being here as well. One of the things that I was talking to our clerk about is that in the city we have 93,000 registered voters, and of those, only about 2/3 of them actually go and vote. And so what that does to us, and we have a city of close to 350,000, number one, we're registered at a much lower clip than we should be. But even of those that are registered, those that exercise their vote are even less than that. So what that does is when we don't vote at higher clips, we get less resources, we get less voter engagement, less participation, and there's just a disconnect, less of an engagement. So I know you all, as part of the city family and the service employees, I know do a lot to try to encourage people to vote. And especially in elections in cycles like this, where there's so much negative rhetoric about, demographies like ours here in the city, it's important that we exercise our vote. Again, one way or the other, it doesn't matter who we vote for or what initiative we support or oppose. The important thing is just participating. So the city and my colleagues and city staff, I want to applaud them, because this was the first time that we did what was called a citizenship fair. And so it was an effort to get folks who were permanent residents to actually go through the process of naturalization and become citizens so they can vote in this cycle. We anticipated about 300 or 400 people would show up at that fair, and we were hoping it was going to be, that was going to be a full room. We had over 800 people show up. So that just shows the desire for people to participate. It's a good trend. It's a good thing. Sometimes good things come out of bad situations. We know that there's been a lot of, again, negative comments being made, but we have people from the community that really are encouraging our folks, our residents, to come out and vote. I see Silvia Ichar and her son Francis from Para Todos. I know they've been a real driver in this and making sure that our community does get out and vote and does have its voice heard. So I want to thank you both and really appreciate everything you all have done. I just want to let you know that the city is also doing more, not just the citizenship fair, but we're also doing a real strong get out the vote effort and voter registration, and let you know that the election is only 50 or is less than 50 days away, And the last day to register is October 24th at midnight. It's a real important date for all of us to remember. It's something that we have to remind our neighbors, remind our friends. Again, just exercising that privilege that many, as you know, as a council member said, many people sacrifice their lives, their careers, just for that privilege for us to be able to do that. And there's a website that's connected to this as well, and that's www.ocvote.com. So that's a real easy thing to remember. At that site, you'll be able to find where your polling place is, where you can go register, access information. But we just want to continue to talk about how Santa Ana really does need to improve its numbers, because relative to the rest of the cities in the county, we just vote at a much lower percentage, and that's not a good thing for those of us in the city. So, Hilda, do you mind addressing us and saying a few words in your effort? And thank you once again for being here.
Hi, good evening, Santa Ana. I'm Hilda Garcia, and I'm the political coordinator for the cities of SEIU 721. And I'm here on behalf of Bob Schoonover, which is our president, and unfortunately he was not able to be here tonight, but he did want me to thank the council, the mayor, everybody here, all of the citizens of Santa Ana, thank you for declaring this month the Latino Voter Registration Month. It's so important, not just to our local, but to every region, to all the unions, that we really make this a priority, especially with this important election coming up. So humbly, he wanted to be here, but he wanted to express his thankfulness and honor for you guys having us here tonight.
Very quickly, just to add to everything, not only do we want to see everybody within Santa Ana get out and register to vote, but we really want to see the millennials, the future leaders of the city, to get out there, register, and also to get involved. We have several examples here this evening that you'll probably hear from. So with that being said, vote, help your community, help your state, help your nation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Hilda. And we're going to present this jointly and together as an entire council in a grateful city. And thank you, Councilwoman Martinez. I'm not going to go through all the clauses. Let me just do the relevant last clause, which says, whereas the City of Santa Ana's intensive voter registration efforts can substantially increase the number of qualified underrepresented residents who have the opportunity to select their elected representatives and decide important initiatives in the forthcoming elections. Now, therefore, we, the Mayor and the City Council of the City of Santa Ana, do hereby declare September as Latino Voter Registration Month. Thank you, and please accept this on behalf of all of us here in the city. Thank you so much.
We're almost here. There's so much to celebrate in the month of September, but as I mentioned earlier, it's just in partnership with what we're doing here. This is my 9th year on this city council, and I've had the honor every September to really make sure that the city of Santa Ana observes National Hispanic Heritage Month. And so every year I've chosen an organization that has made a significant contribution, not only in Santa Ana, Orange County, California, across the United States. And this year, we wanted to recognize Para Todos magazine. So if we could please have Sylvia please join us, and Francis, please come on up with Para Todos. And as they're coming up, each year Americans observe National Hispanic Heritage Month from September 15 to October 15. The observation started in 1968 as Hispanic Heritage Week under President Lyndon Johnson and was expanded by President Ronald Reagan in 1988 to cover a 30-day period. Hispanic Americans are one of the fastest growing ethnic communities in the United States. The presence of this community is vital to the growth and stability of our city and nation. In observance of September as National Hispanic Heritage Month, the City of Santa Ana would like to recognize and celebrate Para Todos magazine for their significant contributions to the world-famous Latinos in entertainment. Para Todos magazine is a regional Spanish language magazine in the United States published by Sylvia Ichara, and the magazine reaches Southern California Latinos throughout its local distribution as well as a subscription base. Para Todos was launched in San Juan Capistrano, California in 1995 as a community magazine for South Orange County, but eventually became a publication with much of it more content and has gone on to be the leading Spanish language regional magazine in Southern California. That deserves a round of applause. And so before I read all the whereases, and I'm probably not going to read them, I wanted to, Sylvia, to give you an opportunity to talk a little bit about Para Todos and the great work that you all have been doing here for a couple of decades, and the amazing work, and not only that you do for your magazine, but the contributions you have made personally, you and your son, here in our community to ensuring that the work that the Latino community does, not only in Santa Ana and Southern California, is recognized, and in particular in the arts and entertainment. One thing that we struggle in Hollywood, or whether it be in the music industry, it is not easy. As I talk to a lot of entertainers in the Latino community, and I'm very fortunate that I've had the opportunity to meet various of them, they have challenges in Hollywood and the roles that they play at times that they're called upon. And I've had discussions one-on-one, having dinner with a couple of them, and how they say, hey, we want you to play this role. And they say, well, what role is it? And sometimes some of the first things that they're asked to play, a maid. I could go on to somebody being a criminal. Those are the faces that they've painted about the Latino community in entertainment. And now these Latino actors are creating exposure and saying, I have better talent. That's not what represents our community. We are hardworking people. We are great actors. We are great entertainers. And we have provided significant contributions in this country. And so every time that I see one of them, I always do my part, but also when I get to read Para Todos and I see how you're highlighting these entertainers and the great work that they're doing, it definitely makes the difference. And so I want to thank you for what you have been able to do. And please share a couple words with us, Sylvia.
Well, I thank you so much to the mayor and all the city councils and yourself to give us what an incredible recognition. The magazine was created because I fell in love with the Mexican community that I was taking care of. And I never thought I was going to be doing this as my full-time job, full-time job. And I didn't even guess my son was going to be joining strongly when he was 13 or 14 years old, doing the designer, the website, and he's the one that finds a drop of Latino blood in the veins of any singer or actor, and there he is, including and highlighting the great things they do. I'm a serious writer. I have been a teacher myself. I had the joy of interviewing Sarmiento and getting to know how incredible person he is, as so many others. And that's my joy and my treasure, to have met, to have known more in depth so many phenomenal people. And when 2, 3 in the morning we are finishing the magazine, as we have to be doing now, someone sends us an email and say, I read the magazine or the editorial and I went back to college. That is our pay, to give strength and hope to the people that are behind, needing that little word that we know, is so effective. But thank you so much for the recognition.
We did start the publication in 1995, so 21 years ago in October. And I remember at that time, there were no other Spanish magazines in existence. Today we have so many. And I remember our first issue, which was just for San Juan Capistrano. One of the stories I always hear my mother tell me is how it made its way to Santa Ana. So I'm happy that, we're here celebrating in a place where the Latino community is embraced, and so many stories are told on the streets. I hear so many people with businesses, and I love that, and that's one of the things that we often promote in the publication, aside from actors, to inspire people to achieve different things. But also business leaders are my personal role models, and I know for many people that's such an important thing to celebrate, and that's what we do at Para Todos. So thank you so much for this great honor, everyone.
Great. So let me read the whereases, and so I will just, Hispanic Americans are among one of the fastest growing ethnic communities in the United States. The presence of this community is vital to the growth of the stability of our city and our nation, and now therefore we, the mayor and city council of the city of Santa Ana, do hereby acknowledge and proclaim September 15th through October 15th as National Hispanic Heritage Month, and encourage all residents of Santa Ana to join in celebrating the cultures and traditions of the Hispanic community in appreciation of National Hispanic Heritage Month. Of course, thank you guys. Hold this, let me get you in the middle. Well, no, let me get you in the middle. It's your recognition. Thank you. Thank you. So my last recognition, and it is Pedestrian Safety Month as well, in the month of September. And so I wanted to bring Sarah Jepson up with, she's the Active Transportation Special Programs for the Southern California Association of Governments. So in the month of September, the state of California declares Pedestrian Safety Month. And I thought it was only fitting, not only because I'm president of the Southern California Association of Governments, that I'm providing this award to SCAG. It is important to understand that this is the largest metropolitan planning organization in the country. And not too long ago, we made a commitment as a regional council. And when I talk about a regional council, up here you see 7 members on the city council. When I go to SCAG on the first Thursday of the month and we have our regional council meetings, at any given time, we're having to deal with 83 to 86 elected officials across Southern California. And I'll tell you, today, as being the president and having to conduct those meetings, knowing that I have to work with all those elected officials to get business done is not always easy. But what I can tell you, that we have amazing staff like Sarah that has helped us with the Go Human campaign. And so I think many folks in this audience and at home know that I have a passion. And I've been speaking of this since my early days as a council member about pedestrian safety. As I have done walk and talks across this city, the first concern that is always raised from our residents, from our children, from our parents, is traffic safety. That they don't feel safe when they're walking or biking either to or from school, or having to take a bus to go to work. We all know the statistics here in Santa Ana, and I won't go through them, but I know that with the Go Human campaign and the work that we are doing to humanize what we're dealing with, I talked about last month how when we talk about gang shootings, when we talk about other crime, that seems to be more appealing to people. It gets people's attention. But when we talk about someone got hit by a car and died, or someone got hit while riding their bicycle and they died, it's just like, oh, they shouldn't have been riding their bike. Why were they walking? They didn't have, they should have had, lighter clothes, right? It's always the blame on the pedestrian or the cyclist. never the motorist. And at times it is the pedestrian's fault, but then there are times when it is the motorist's fault. And so what do you do to help prevent these crashes, and I call them crashes, these crashes from occurring in a community like Santa Ana and like a state in California? So I just wanted to read some brief statistics and then provide this resolution to Sarah, and hopefully she will make some brief remarks on the good work that we're doing with the Go Human campaign. But in 2015, 813 pedestrians were killed on California highways. Safety while walking on sidewalk or streets is everyone's concern. This impacts communities around the state, whether a person is behind the wheel or walking. Everyone should pay closer attention to their surrounding areas. Designating September as Pedestrian Safety Month gives us an opportunity to really focus on education efforts and reintroduce California to these issues year after year. In addition, the California Department of Transportation is developing a state bicycle and pedestrian plan to be completed in February of 2017. It is a comprehensive policy plan that supports active modes of transportation and creates a framework to increase safe walking and biking. And I talk about this because it's important what the state is doing. It's important what SCAG is doing at the regional level, but the work that we're doing here at the local level. And I do want to acknowledge Fred and his staff in Public Works as we continue to make improvements to making our roads safer for our residents. SCAG launched the Go Human campaign, a community outreach program with the purpose of reducing traffic collisions in Southern California and encourage people to walk and bike as a mode of transportation. So over the past year, I would say that SCAG has been hosting these walking and biking events throughout the year. Not too long ago, we had one in Westminster on Hoover Street, and that was a huge success, and I think that's the only one we've had in Orange County. We have another one coming up on October 1st in the great city of Long Beach. So if you do travel beyond Orange County boundaries, I would encourage you to go to North Long Beach to really see the demonstration projects that we are doing with other communities and how we can participate and repurpose our roads that promote walking and biking in a safe manner. At the end of the day, we can create bike lanes, right, so that people have access to bike or build sidewalks. But if we don't educate and create awareness, or provide safe infrastructure, we are not going to be able to reduce the collisions that we are facing, or crashes as I call them, in Santa Ana or in Southern California. So now, Sarah, if you could please just share with us. I talked about the Go Human, and I didn't want to steal your thunder, but the Go Human campaign is an interesting concept. Like, what's Go Human, right? And again, I mentioned earlier that we want to humanize, the effects of safety and how that impacts our everyday lives. So Sarah, please share with us what the Go Human campaign is.
Sure, thank you, and thanks so much for having me here tonight. Go Human is a campaign that we started about a year ago to promote walking and biking safety, and it's not really my thunder, it is your thunder to speak about. Michelle, Councilmember Martinez, has been a great champion for promoting walking and biking safety across Southern California and as we build out our transportation system. And one of the things that we have found when we've done surveys of people and trying to understand behaviors that we don't want people to have out on the roadways, those dangerous behaviors, is that a lot of times, especially this time of year when we're busy and kids are going back to school, people view people walking and biking as barriers to the places that they are trying to get to. And so the whole point of our campaign is to try to humanize and remind people that this is not just someone in your way. This is your mother, your grandmother, could be your child. And so we've had a series of advertisements that have been promoted throughout Southern California that show that it's not just a sign. When you see the signs that are highlighting that pedestrians are out there, really pay attention. It's not just a sign. It's a sign. it could be someone that's important to your life. So that's what Go Human is all about, and we work through advertising and public education about the rules of the road. We also have been working closely with cities to think about how they can redesign their streets in ways to make them safer for walking and biking. And as Councilmember Martinez said, we've done that through a series of events, and we're hoping to bring one of those events to Santa Ana here sometime in the near future. So I really appreciate you recognizing the work of SCAG here today, and really the ongoing partnership that we have with the City of Santa Ana. The City of Santa Ana is truly leading the way in Orange County and across Southern California when it comes to putting the policies and the resources and the money in place to create safer streets. So thank you for your leadership, and thank you for the recognition this evening.
Great, thank you, Sarah, and very well said. And again, I'm extremely proud, to provide the certificate of recognition to SCAG for the great work. It's not always easy. It's difficult here with 7 to pass good policy. So imagine having to pass good policy with 83 members, elected officials across Southern California. Not easy, and how the staff is able to help us accomplish that and do good things like the Go Human campaign would not be possible if it weren't for you, Sarah, and the great work that you do. So in recognition of Pedestrian Safety Month and SCAG's effort and dedication to the Go Human campaign, we want to provide a certificate of recognition, and thank you for all your efforts.
Thank you, Councilwoman Martinez, and thank you for your work on SCAG and for your leadership on all these pedestrian safety issues. With that, I'm going to take 2 speakers out of context. Before we go with the consent calendar, we have 2 students, and I want them to speak and then go home and do their homework. So Concepcion Vasquez, if you could come on and speak, followed by Rachel Sawson. Please come on down.
This one?
Go ahead.
Hello. Unfortunately, Connie had to leave, so I'm taking her place. I'm
Go ahead.
Placencia, and I attend the school at Centennial Education Center. I'm just one of many people that attend that school. It's a great school. It's always there for you when you need it. It has so many subjects that you can learn from. I'm also part of the student government. I've been on there for almost 2.5 years now. The school is very valuable to everybody who goes there, from the kindergarten to the teachers to the volunteers. It's just a great place to go to. And I'm just hoping that you guys keep it going for many more years, because it's a wonderful place to attend. I know my daughter is going to go there because she needs to get her high school diploma too. So it's a great place, and everyone knows. And many people come from all around to go to that school, because our Vice President, Neva, she lives in Anaheim and takes 2 buses to travel there. So that's dedication. There's many students like that are very determined to get there. And I just wanted to tell you how great that school is, and hopefully you keep it going and give it a lease, and we can just grow from there.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good evening. I am Rachel, and I'm currently enrolled in Centennial Education Center. And I would like to share to you my experience in that school. So I'm just new in that school, but right now I am very happy of all the things that I am learning through my computer skills, courses that I am taking. I have learned a lot. And I am also enrolled in the employability skills. So right now I am being prepared of all the things that I should learn whenever I am going to apply for a job, like making resumes and cover letters and like that. And I am also a member of the Associated Student Government. And right now I am, because of that, it helped me build my confidence in speaking in front of people. So we would be really happy if you could extend the list of our school so it could help a lot more people like us. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Now I'm going to go to the city attorney and ask if there's anything to report out of closed session.
Mayor, we do have some reportable action. On our item A, in the Charles Backus case, we have the council voted 6-0 to settle that matter for $185,142. In other matters, we were given direction on policy direction for negotiations. In the matter of potential litigation, as well as the matter of 901 First Street, we were given negotiation direction on that, with Mayor Pro Tem Sarmiento excusing himself.
Thank you. With that, I'm now going to go to the consent calendar and ask if there are any items that council members want to pull or abstain on.
I'd like to abstain on item 25D, as I am employed by the Santa Ana Unified School District.
Okay. Any other items, Councilor Martinez?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to pull 20A, 20C, 25C, 25A, 25E, 25H, and 25J.
Any other items?
Got them all covered.
Any other items that other council members want to? If not, I'll entertain a motion on the balance.
So moved.
Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Was it 28, Councilor Martinez? Go ahead.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. So very quickly on 20A, I just wanted to make sure to put this on the record. Here, Mr. City Manager, what we're doing today is 4 recommended actions. One is to approve appropriation adjustments reducing the fiscal year 2016-2017 budget from the sanitation fund in the tune of $1,601,000. Also authorize expenditures related to the graffiti abatement in the amount of $1,200,000 within the general fund, and then direct staff to calculate a sanitation rate reduction corresponding to the reduction appropriation related to expenditures of the sanitation fund. And then lastly, direct staff to reduce an assessment of the water enterprise fund to the general fund. And so I first want to applaud staff and hopefully my colleagues here today in moving in this direction. This is something that I have been discussing for quite some time, but I do have a question, Mr. City Manager. As we move those funds, I have a question as it pertains to the Water Enterprise Fund. How will those funds that are going back into the water fund, how will they be used? Are we allocating them to something? Because I don't see that here in the memo. And so if you can please explain that to me, that would be greatly appreciated.
Thank you, Councilwoman Martinez, Mayor, and members of the council. Thank you for your leadership. I know that this is something you've advocated for, and we're really proud to make these changes. I think it's very fiscally responsible. Directly to your question, as you know, we had tremendous success in our drought plan. Water was reduced by about 20%. Obviously, that meant a reduction in revenue. The good news is it was offset by the water cost and the chemical costs and those kinds of things. The $2.4 million will be used to build infrastructure, wells, pump stations, pipelines, to continue to advance on our capital improvement program and assure a clean, safe water system.
Mr. City Manager, I'm going to support this item, so I just want to make sure that the money that we are transferring for those funds, you're telling us that we're going to use them for those certain purposes. If you can put that in a memo for us,
yes,
so that the City Council could have documentation that that's how we're going to be using those funds, because I think it's imperative that that we are as transparent as possible and making sure that when we are putting those dollars back into that I'm going to say that enterprise fund, that those monies are used for the right purposes. And so with that, Mr. Mayor, I'll go ahead and move the item. I just wanted to make sure that we documented how the money was going to be allocated.
I'd like to second with comment.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And so I want to also thank the staff and your leadership, Mr. City Manager, but I want to thank Council Member Martinez, because I know even before you arrived, this was something that she was very concerned about, and we couldn't address it in the past, but now that we have some funds, and I believe that the $1.2 million from the general fund, my understanding is that's part of the surplus. So now we can do the things that we were intended to do, but to the extent we can track that, and maybe what we could do is just keep a balance sheet of what, what's remaining. I know that the 2.4 reduction in the fees are going to go towards, again, some capital improvements that will hopefully benefit the whole water system and things that we need to address. But the public should know that those could be rate reductions, but we realize that we still have some deferred maintenance that we need to address, and so that's why it couldn't go back to them as just as rate reduction fees. But I think, again, this is a prudent thing to do because I know that we were looking at exposure for potential 218 violations. So thank you very much, and with that, I'm going to be supporting this motion as well.
Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, motion carries.
Mr. Mayor,
yes.
if I could just go back, I was out of the room, but I'd like to just record a abstention on 25D because I now work for the Santa Ana Unified School District. I apologize.
All right, I think so noted. Yes, Madam Clerk? So noted. Before we go further, I have a request to speak on 20E. So, Jose Hernandez, if you can come and, if you are here, please come on down and speak on this item. 20E. E is in Edward. I know, but let me have him speak beforehand. Please go ahead. It's one of the ones you missed. Go ahead and speak anyway.
This is the one for the homelessness issue, right? The budget. Good evening, Mayor, City Council members, staff, City Manager. I just want to say that there's a lot of important conversation that is happening around this issue. I come, speaking on behalf of Accord, Orange County Communities Organized for Responsible Development. We're an organization that helps people become citizens and people become civically engaged in Anaheim, Santa Ana, and all over the county. But this issue, and which is why I want to come here and speak, is that the homelessness issue is just one part of a multifaceted and very complex issue that is housing in America. We believe that housing is a human right, that everybody deserves the right to have food on their table and to have a roof over their head. And as a society, we need to start thinking about real creative and long-lasting solutions rather than trying to work within a broken system as we'd find it. The reality is, as Jesus said, the poor will always be among you. And sure enough, 2,000 years later, they still are. And still there are the excuses for doing one thing or not doing the other. I would like for it to be understood that this is just part of the issue and the need for affordable housing in Santa Ana. I know that the homelessness issue is one that is felt by everybody in the county. We drive down, and we see folks living in encampments under, freeways and here at Civic Center. And I know, like I've told folks, when I was part of Occupy, and many of you remember that, we spent many nights out there with the homeless, and it's rough, it's scary, it's cold. And there's no protection when it rains. So luckily it's not raining, but it's not. But I just really want to, say that there's definitely different people out there that need services, rehabilitation, but also there's people that lost their job, that lost their way, and that once you fall, it's really easy to stay down. I've lived in my car, I've lived in garages, I've lived wherever I could in my struggle to gain independence. And let me tell you that housing is continuing to be an issue for many residents in Santa Ana. And those that I've talked to on door-to-door knocks and say that they have affordable housing are so happy, and they're able to provide better education and more attention to their kids rather than having to work 2 jobs, and then not be able to be there for their children. And so, let's look at a long-term solution and understand that the homelessness crisis is just part of a bigger housing crisis that we're facing here in Santa Ana, and that we hope that the city uses its political willpower and its foresight and its wisdom to be able to provide that affordable housing for not only the homeless, but the thousands of residents of Santa Ana that desperately need it. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, what is our next item?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, that is 20C.
Go ahead.
And I will be very quickly on this item. What we're doing today is recognizing the developer contribution funds for pedestrian improvements on the Santa Ana Boulevard corridor, and I wanted to take a moment, one, to thank CNC Development, and where we're going to be using those funds is at Depot de Santiago. Those $400,000 will be used for pedestrian crossings, improvements in that area, and we have heard from many of our residents out there in the Santa Ana Boulevard corridor, the amount of traffic that goes through there. As you all know, we have the 5 freeway, and people are really going through that corridor to get to work. And people are going at various speeds. And today I actually went through there myself. I was at La Chiquita during lunchtime, and I decided not to go through Washington, and I went through to go see the construction and how we're moving along. And I will tell you that as I was trying to make a right turn, I could tell you those cars were going 50, 60 miles an hour down that street, and you have Garfield Elementary School, and so I'm excited that we are partnering up with CNC Development to making sure that those investments, that $400,000, will be used in particular for those pedestrian crossings that many of our residents have asked and requested in that area that will help us bridge that funding gap to make that happen. And so I definitely support that, and again want to thank CNC Development for applying for that grant that they received and being able to provide us, the city, the funding so that we can provide these pedestrian crossings. And I'll move that item forward, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, those opposed. Motion carries. Next item, Michelle.
Yes, it's 25C, Mr. Mayor, and that is I just want to just state for the record, as you all know, everything that we've been doing on Bristol, whether good, bad, or indifferent, I have not been satisfied with the way we've been addressing this issue, and so I just wanted to just state for the record, as I have been in the past, that I'm a no vote on that, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, do I have a motion?
Move the item.
Those motion is second. Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Go ahead, Councilor Martinez.
And this is same thing for 25E, Mr. Mayor.
I would entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Councilor Martinez.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, 25H. I just quickly, I noticed here that we are accepting the Edward Bryan Memorial Justice Assistance Grant. And as I read through the memo, that we're going to be using these funds for overtime, but also to be dealing with gang prevention and other educational activities. And I just wanted to ask our chief, do we have a timeline and when we are going to be using those funds, and how do we go? When are you all going to go about going out there and educating the community?
Mayor and Council, this is a grant that we get every year, and we're still working on the funds from last year. So next fiscal year, we'll start working in these topical areas that you see in the paperwork.
Thank you. And if we just, I'm not on the Public Safety Committee. I'm not sure when David is able to get someone else to serve with them so that he could have a meeting. But making sure that you keep him abreast as the chairman so that we know exactly how we're going to be using those funds. We greatly appreciate it. As you all know, we've had concerns with what's going on with the gang problem here in this community. And now we're going to have some resources how to combat that. Be greatly appreciated of how you all go about doing that.
No problem. And then just for reference, if you do want a dog ear, 25H19 is the program description which was approved by the Department of Justice.
Correct.
That gives you a little bit more details. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. I move the item, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. We have motion and second. Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Councilor Martinez.
And Mr. Mayor, on 25J, this is an exclusive negotiation agreement for real property exchange on Bristol Street and Standard. And so before I say no on this item, because I'm just a no on all the Bristol, I think you all know that, I wanted just staff to come up here because I think it's important for us, and I don't know where Gerardo is, our Parks and Rec director. or Mr. City Manager, can you just state here what we're doing? Because I look, at the end of the day, I believe what we're trying to do is make an exchange to provide more open space in an area. And, you know, it's not that I'm against that item. Again, I think that it's appropriate that we provide open space where we can. My problem is just I've been a consistent no on all the Bristol stuff, but I wanted for the record to state what exactly what we're doing here today.
Thank you, Councilwoman Martinez. Very high level. The property owner as standard and McFadden for a long time has been providing services to our community at no cost. They've had a partnership with the Mariners that provided some operating costs, and it turned out to be a very popular park for the neighborhood. There's not a lot of facilities there. To your point, we are trying to do more with open space, and so this individual gave us an opportunity to do a trade. We identified property on Bristol that was purchased with community development block grants. We're going through all the processes to make sure it's an equivalent trade, working closely with the law department. And so this would allow us to make that trade and make sure that that property stays as open space, very popular, bring it to city standard eventually. And today we're asking for the ability to do an exclusive negotiated agreement to those ends.
Yes, your pleasure.
Oh, as I mentioned, I'm just going to just
I'd like to move the item with comment.
consistent,
Right.
yeah, with my.
I'd like
Second.
to.
Those in favor, please say aye.
With comment.
No.
With comment, go ahead.
Yeah.
Comment.
I think this is a very positive opportunity. I know that this is at this point we're just looking at council is looking to give direction to enter an exclusive negotiation agreement. The parcel that you've mentioned has been quite popular. It is a very dense part of town over at McFadden and Standard. However, at this point, the improvements that have been made there have been pretty clearly temporary, and I think that there's a lot of opportunity for it to truly become a park that we can not only be proud of as a city, but that the community can fully use. So if we do move forward and everything is able to come together, I would just want to make sure that we also, along with a swap, that staff would be able to come back with a plan to make the enhancements to truly make it a fully utilized and improved park space. That's my comment.
Thank you. We also have comment from Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I appreciate the council member's comments. I think he's right. I think it's been a very sort of transition park. It's been in transition for, I think, the past, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Moet, 5 years, 4 years. I'm not sure what the period of time has been that it's been operating sort of as a park, but not really a park, right? It's been a parcel or open space that's been used by the community, by the neighborhood, because there aren't any parks in that immediate area.
It's been operated by the church, and they've done
by
a
the
wonderful
church,
job.
and
Yes.
it was donated. So,
Yeah.
also, one thing I think that might be interesting, as we go through this ENA period, can you quantify what that parcel would have costed the city had we decided to purchase it for those purposes, right? So, I think it'd be an interesting exercise in just seeing how much was actually gained by the city.
Yeah.
And, look, I hope that we have other opportunities to engage with other friendly business owners that have parcels that, are sitting vacant. So that's something I think that would be important to our discussions when we go through the final decision making. Thank you.
All right, so I believe we already voted on the item. So with that, or is there any more, Michelle, or are we done? All right. What? No, I think we voted, but we voted, right, Madam Clerk? We voted, but then we kept talking. We do that sometimes. So with that, Madam Clerk, the next item would be
Item 55A.
I would entertain a motion on 55A.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. So now item 75A. This is a public hearing. Yes, Madam Clerk? It's a public hearing to consider approving a resolution to authorize negotiation for sale of city-owned property at 2120 North Main Street. And with that, I'll have staff available for a presentation. Do we have any members of the audience that wish to address us at this time?
And Mr. Mayor, if I can interrupt, I'm
Go
going to
ahead.
go ahead and recuse myself from this matter. I received a campaign contribution from the applicant, and I'm going to conflict
Okay,
myself.
that is appropriate. Thank you for that, Mayor Pro Tem. So with that, seeing no one, I'm going to close the public hearing and bring it back to council for consideration.
Mr.
Yes.
Mayor, I'll move the item.
Okay. Is there a
Entertain a
second?
motion? Second.
We have a motion. Go ahead. Do you have comment? Or?
Yes, just really quickly, I just think it's a great opportunity for us, what we're trying to do, and I just also want to thank Net Development, who really we hope to go into negotiations with, as what we're doing here today. As we move forward with economic development, and the importance, I think, for this mayor and city council, we need to continue to assuring that whatever land that the city does own, that we know that we get a return on investment, which is very important, I think, not only for us, being responsible with our city land, but also making sure that we continue and have a vision in ensuring that whatever we decide to do in a property like this, or possibly like the one on Broadway where we're looking at possibly doing a hotel over there, doing some mixed use, some housing, or over here on this side, another possible hotel. There's only great things that are happening, but wanting to make sure that there's always this community benefit and, again, this return on investment for our community, and I wholeheartedly support a project like this.
Thank you. So with that, I believe we have a motion and a second. Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Let's get Mayor Pro Tem back in the room, and I'm going to go on to item 85A, and who would like to present this item? Councilman Reyna or
Yeah, I'll go ahead and
Benavides?
take it. I'm sure we'll have an opportunity to say some few words as well. I had the opportunity to attend the LEO this past year in June, and came across an organization that was really fighting to put in a historic museum, specifically the American Latino community amongst them all here in Washington, D.C. And so as that is moving forward, I'd like to propose a resolution that the city of Santa Ana would really support H.R. 6001 and Senate 3314 in establishing a Smithsonian American Latino Museum, designating the arts and the industry buildings as a future location in Washington, D.C. This is one of the organizations or ethnicities that really doesn't have much of a representation on the museum or the mall in Washington, D.C. And the fact that this is the month for Latino Heritage Month, I think it's absolutely appropriate to do so. I'm really excited that this is happening, and I'm looking forward to a ribbon cutting at some point. At this point, I'm going to pass it over to my colleagues to see if there's any comments he'd like to make as well.
You basically covered it. Thank you, Councilman Reyna, for approached me with this, and I also had an opportunity to meet some of the folks out there. There was a lot of significant statistics, and perhaps at the next meeting when we do have, I'm hoping that we have the support of the council to bring the resolution back. We'll be able to highlight some of the stats, and one of those that you did mention is that Latino community is one of the few that does not have a Smithsonian museum in Washington, D.C. There are fewer and fewer buildings that are held by the federal government, that would be able to be designated, and this one building is one that has been, there's been some research on. There is an opportunity. There are cities throughout the country that are adopting similar resolutions, so hopefully here the city of Santa Ana will join the effort in extending our support. So with that, I imagine you're making a motion.
So with that, I'd make a motion that to direct staff to prepare a resolution in supporting of H.R. 6001.
Any comment? If not, I'd entertain a vote. Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, motion carries.
Thank you.
Now, I'll turn it over to the city manager's office for WS1, the work study session.
Thank you, Mayor. We do have two quick presentations. They're very important because they involve millions of dollars. We're asking for approval to move forward with some RFP processes, and we ask for your direction. I think Vice Mayor Sarmiento is coming back.
I think he wants the presentation to
Okay.
end, and then
Okay.
he'll return.
I think he's having.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. He's
Okay,
probably
I like
next
that
door.
sense of humor.
It was probably.
Go ahead and get started. It's a very positive story in Santa Ana, and I do want to give an overview of the funding and the staffing. This year, compared to last year, there's a significant increase in resources. All of the economic indicators are very good. The real estate market has turned very positive. Unemployment rate has gone down dramatically, a lot of jobs. And investment in the community is very substantial. I do want to give credit to our leadership for the streetcar. The streetcar is going to have a tremendous impact on Santa Ana. The $300 million will be leveraged 4 to 6 times, so we're talking about billions of dollars in new investments. Major residential projects, opportunity for public-private partnerships, and then we're going to go ahead and talk about the initiatives and some strategies. On page 3 of the presentation, you'll see that in 15-16, total resources available are about $6 million. Based on the leadership and some amazing opportunities that we've had with some settlements, some additional funds for redevelopment, and additional funds that were approved in the budget for public-private partnerships. This year's budget will be over twice the amount, or $14,200,000. So this is quite a bit of money for economic development. On page 4, I just want to outline the positions that support economic development. Of course, our work center, which has done a great job. We do have an economic development division with an equivalent 2 full-time positions. We have a full-time downtown liaison, so we have about 19 people that are helping job seekers and working with companies. On page 5, we have some very good metrics. We're doing a lot of analysis of statistics, and so these numbers are really good, and it's going to present challenges going forward to make it even better, but we're going to do our best. But our business licenses are 29,000. Building permits, Hassan Hagani and his team, they're very busy when we go down in the counter. 6,700 building permits, property values, $23 billion. Sales taxes are at $43 million. Hotel visitors are doing great. Just got a new hotel approved today. The valuations are very high for the permits. And again, our work center has done tremendous work. We are a very attractive central location in Orange County. And we've been very successful in attracting new real estate investments, and they're listed there. Bank of California, Pacific Care Insurance, and they range from 178,000 square feet all the way down to 41,000 square feet. And just these companies alone created over 1,000 new jobs. I think the chart number 7 is spectacular. I'm going to let it sit up there for about 25 minutes. Because it's really, really spectacular. But when you look at the unemployment rate in 2009, it was 14.3% in Santa Ana. And it was really, really high. And it was worse than Orange County. It was worse than California. It was worse than the United States. And now, because of the leadership of this mayor and council and all the work you've done, it's really been a turnaround. And now Santa Ana is doing better than California. Doing better than the United States, and has really done well, and we're about 5% unemployment right now, so that's really contributed to all the positive
Can you say that where we're at now? Is it 5%?
About 5%, a little bit under.
And so we're under the California unemployment
Right,
rate.
we're doing better in California, and we're just doing spectacular compared to before when we were 14.3%, which was the highest of all the people we competed against. So lots of investment in the city, lots of lease space, new money is identified. Main Place, I know the mayor and others met with the leadership there. They invested $50 million. We're going to have another meeting tomorrow. It's very, very important. They redeveloped the Main Place. I'll keep going, Jorge. The 4th Street Market was retro, multi-million-dollar investment. Discovery Cube expansion was very, very important. Esports downtown is a new and exciting initiative. We did a business license with Volvo. We created a hotel development incentive program. Major residential projects throughout the city are being developed or planned. Examples there are the 301 Legato at the Met.
the Madison, the Heritage is received their zoning and will be coming back. On page 12, this is something we want to focus on. We have a very, very good relationship with the city and the chamber. We had over 250 visitations, very, very active. The Warner Industrial Assessment District was, in my view, the best public-private partnership. When you look at examples, 50% of the cost paid by the industrial group there, 50% by the city. It's very, very important to use our good credit. South Main, $7 million have been identified. It just won an award for that project. And so when we talk about our initiatives, we're looking for everyone to bring something to the table. The private sector, the public sector. We want to have sustainable economic development that's going to be not only the life of the project, but go on and on from there. Even though we're more than doubling our resources, they are limited, so we have to be strategic. We have some categories for your consideration on page 14. Marketing campaigns, targeted advertisement, marketing collateral. This is basically to promote Santa Ana. This is something that's important because we're doing a branding study right now. And following the branding study, you want to have money to brand the city. So this is timely, these categories. We also believe that the future is technology. Orange County has a very technological focus, so we think anybody who's working in the area of technology, partnerships with educational institutions, Santa Ana College, Santa Ana Phi School District, but an incubator would be something positive, and we've got some interest in that. We also would very strongly encourage small business development. The vast majority of businesses, loan programs, access to capital. A lot of times people like to do facade rehabilitation programs, maybe on a cost-sharing basis, partnerships with educational institutions. The bottom line is we have $1 million available. We're asking to do public-private partnerships. We have a range there of 100 to 250. We can change that based on your direction. And we'd like to get the progress immediately, so we're asking for a 12 to 18-month performance requirement. So with your direction and any modifications, we're asking for approval to release these RFPs so we can get this money out and start to going to work. And we have $1 million available. We can do RFPs, we can do direct selections or a combination of the above, and that concludes our presentation, Mayor and Council.
Thank you. Any questions from the council? Councilor Martinez.
Mr. City Manager, and thank you, Mr. Mayor, for putting this together. But can you tell me how this is tied to our economic strategic plan that we embarked on about 1.5 years ago? And where are we at with that process? And then how is this coming before us without actually seeing that report? If you could just expand on that. Before I would want to spend the $1 million that you're bringing before me to go into RFPs. You know, this is something that when I sat on the FedTech and also on the other council committee, that when we were going through this process, we wanted to make sure that there is alignment and how we move forward in spending our funds. I know that the chamber and folks like Ryan Chase and others have come before this council. I don't think I was present, but asking what is the city of Santa Ana going to do to help with economic development. And I don't know if this is the result of why we're doing this here with this particular grant. But as we move forward, again, I think, to have vision, to making sure that we're connecting the dots. We've assembled dollars and we all went out and got this consultant to provide us a roadmap and how we tie that roadmap to our general plan. Because at the end of the day, economic development is vital for our city. And so I don't want to make a commitment here today, and even though we need to put this money out there in our community and helping the business community, we need to make sure that this is the right direction that we're going into and that we heard loud and clear from the rest of the business community and the residents that the consultant has spoken throughout this year.
Thank you, Councilwoman. And So I think the economic development plan was presented, and I think you were out of town, so I do want you to know that. As far as the $1 million, it was basically in response to the council. It was done during the budget process. It was put in the budget. It did come after those individuals came to the council, Ryan Chase and Jonathan and I believe Michael Wiseman in the chamber. And I would like for Jorge to discuss the scoring that we have envisioned, because we're going to tie the scoring to compliance and adherence to the strategic plan for economic development. Could you do that?
Correct. Mayor, members of the City Council, that's exactly what we're proposing to do. There to be a point structure, just like we would do with the CDBG process or with other grant applications. If the applicants submit a response that identifies at least one of the strategic plan elements, whether it's in the 5-year strategic plan or specifically outlined in the economic development strategic plan, they would be awarded with additional points. Those points would then be used as the basis for selection, depending on how many awards are given. We're anticipating hopefully being able to give out at least 5 to 6 awards, but depending on the amounts, that could vary.
So I guess I wasn't present for that meeting. What you're telling me, Mr. City Manager, that this council already has supported and approved the economic strategic plan.
Maybe I could I just want a point of emphasis, and I think I just want more for the audience than in response to your question. So one of the criticisms was to just direct this to a few individuals, is they could get the money out right away. And we've had this item continue 2 or 3 times. We had a lot of work to do. And so what we're asking today is to issue the RFP in these categories, or a portion thereof if you want to do something different. But the council would actually see the scoring, see the results, see the adherence to the strategic plan, and you would make the ultimate decision as to whether or not you want to move forward with that. Or we could wait, but we're going to be into almost the whole fiscal year is going to go by, and we've had these monies available. I just worry about that a little bit.
Just for a moment, Councilor Benavides and Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mayor. And to your point, Mr. Cavazos, I'm glad that we're finally being able to take this matter up. It has been several meetings that we've had prolonged other business to take care of, and we haven't been able to take this up. And even back then, I think initially the first meeting in August. Now we're almost in October, right? That even then, part of the concern or just the urgency is how soon can we activate. We back in when we approved the budget, we approved and requested that funds be allocated at the amount of $1 million, and frankly, even that is, I'm hoping to see it as just as a start to continue to ramp up the role of the city's active economic development as a priority, kind of flesh that out. In fact, when I remember going back to your interview, actually, as a candidate for city manager, the priority of economic development for this council was one of those items and one of those things that stood out. I know to myself, and I think most, if not all, my colleagues, in that the previous municipality that you served in, that was one of the things that you were able to highlight and point to, the growth, economic growth that was seen there. So here for us, we're finally at a place where we have some funds to invest, and essentially what we're looking at doing is leveraging, right? And within the presentation that you just provided, and I thank you for that, some of the highlights that were made there, you mentioned Main Play Small, and the $15 million that they've invested to date on their improvements. You listed some of the top in the last year or year and a half, some of the top new leases and real estate investment. 2 of those were there at Main Play Small in round 1, and the 24-hour fitness. And collectively, they would be the 3rd highest investment and lease within the city. The city and chamber business retention, the DGWB and amusement park growth. So we're seeing that there are a number of entities, businesses, significant businesses in the city that are already doing quite a bit to themselves investing in business, investing in creating jobs, job creation, and promoting the city. And that's one of the things that we've been talking about doing. And at this point now, we have the branding strategy moving forward. But the question is, how are we going to leverage that and build on that momentum? So today you're presenting one opportunity, which is for us to do an RFP and take that whole $1 million and kind of divide it up into a number of different potential smaller entities that might compete and bid for to take up one aspect of the variety of that list of areas of focus that we need to focus our energies into or build upon. Then the other is, as Councilwoman Martinez mentioned, there was a group of some of these business representatives from some of these large businesses that came and spoke before us a number of months back. And they came also and they worked on developing a proposal for the city and for us to consider. Each of them, whether they're a marketing firm, public relations firm, or whether they represent one of the largest tax revenue producers in the mall or in the downtown or in other businesses, they are looking to and offering to leverage their areas of expertise. The way that they're promoting, again, not only their own businesses but the city in order to draw people to their businesses. So something for us to consider is that the second option, alternative that you referenced, so that we can hit the ground running, is to allocate a portion of these funds, and I would say even in order to hit the ground running, a lion's share of the funds, so that we can do this public-private partnership immediately and have the city manage those funds, but identify one entity, whether it be the chamber, which is what the role that the city of Irvine does. They have I'm not a big fan of using other cities as examples, particularly other cities that are not as exciting as the city of Santa Ana. But one of the things that Irvine does have going for them is that they have Destination Irvine, where they basically have the city help fund and the chamber helps manage, and they promote the heck out of their city. That's frankly, again, they don't have as much of an exciting city and as much promote as we do, but they do lay out an example of something that we can be doing. So what I would recommend for us to consider is to go ahead and, again, a lion's share of these funds to be able to work with the chamber and these different entities that came together, have the city manage the funds, but in partnerships with that entity, so that we can expend these funds and get all of the marketing, the promotion of the city, this website, these apps, and things that you've presented, and again do it within a short time frame and see results as soon as possible. So those are some of my comments. I'd like to. I know there are others who have some thoughts.
Mayor
as well.
Pro Tem, then I have comment as well. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I guess the good news is that we have money to allocate, right? I mean, that's something that we haven't had in the past, and we haven't really even been able to broach this subject until now. That there are some monies that we set aside, but I think to everybody's credit, we all made this a priority, and when we were budgeting, we all said, let's carve out some money for economic development because it's so vital and important. One of the things that concerns me about these funding alternatives is we don't do RFPs really well. We don't do RFQs very well. To all our credit, where we are, we don't procure money very well. So what this does is if we start procuring this, we may be out another 2 years. So that means that a lot of these seats are going to be filled by other folks who may not have made the sacrifices to garner this $1 million to promote economic development. So I agree to some extent with the council member. I don't think I'd say the lion's share. I'd say maybe half would be reserved for a procurement of an independent firm that does economic development, that can work along with the branding contractor that we have, with the marketing contractor that we have. And then I believe, Mr. City Manager, we have a task force that's already in place that might be able to take the lead on the other half of those funds that are available. But I do remember there was even a second economic development task force that represented micro businesses and smaller businesses. I think they should be part of that as well. So that would be my suggestion. That's a true public-private partnership. I think that the city, again, oversees both those funding sources, both the task force that was created and maybe the firm, the consulting firm that we could retain, because this really does take professionals to operate. We're good at a lot of things. Even though we see that we have an economic development division or team, they're very dispersed. I mean, people at the train station, people in the downtown. It's just not a cohesive team that just works on attracting and retaining business. And that's what we need, because businesses have come, businesses have gone. We're at a peak, but we need to be able to retain those businesses that may not be doing as well. So I would just tweak what the council member said, and maybe not do a lion's share for the folks that we're going to allocate, but do a 50-50 split. And I think that would be more fair, because we need to have some role in making sure that the expenditures and these monies are handled properly.
So, Mayor, if I understand that correctly, 50% to follow up on the branding, working with the chamber or an extension of the branding company, and the other 50% with the Economic Development Task Force. We don't have a micro task force established. We haven't been able to do that. But so I don't want to leave you here with the impression there is no task force. It could take a long time to get that going, but it's all up to you.
Can we include some of the people that have been suggested?
Sure,
to
sure.
be
We can
members
include
of
the
that
names we
secondary-
have.
and then
We have 4
include
names.
them.
We can add them to the task force.
Right.
And the way that would work is I would go to the task force and say we have $500,000 available, get their input on where to direct that, and then come back to the council.
Right, so let me just make
Yeah.
sure that we're clear that half of it would go not to the branding consultant that we've already retained, but an independent consulting firm that's going to handle economic development specifically, because branding is an economic
Yes,
development.
yes, I understand
Branding
that.
is one element of economic development, but it's not itself just economic development. So I think we need to bring in an independent firm that's going to work with our branding consultant, with our marketing consultant, with our communications director that we have up on the 8th floor. And all of that together, I think, creates a team that will be able to help address this issue. But the other half, I agree, probably could go into working with the existing task force that we put together.
Let me take more input, but let me add something as we go along. I agree with Mayor Pro Tem that we have to bring in expertise on economic development, because frankly we don't have it on staff internally, and so we have to go to the outside. But the way we go to the outside, the steps that we take, I think I'm hearing different things. So I just wanted to go back to Councilor Benavides for a moment and see if he could articulate what he mentioned earlier as it relates to the next steps here.
Well, one of the key things that we want to do is again leverage some of the resources that are already being expended out there by the private sector to be able to stretch our dollars, right? And I hear what Councilman Sarmiento is recommending and suggesting. My one question of clarification is if we are looking at potentially bringing in an outside consultant, we're talking about possibly more time, and then having some funds go, some of the funds that we have set aside go towards a consultant. So now we're decreasing the amount of funds that we would actually be able to leverage. So I'm not sure exactly. We do have, and I understand the point with regard to the company that we've retained for the branding, although I don't know, I think that's their area of expertise, but I don't know that if it's exclusively all that they do. So maybe they can, since we already have them retained, they can help you.
Their goal is to provide a branding analysis and assessment, and then they leave. They're not into doing, visit Santa Ana. I think what you're talking about with Irvine and what I'm accustomed to is usually a convention and visitors bureau that promote the city. They go to trade shows. They develop marketing materials. We don't have that. The closest we have is probably the chamber, but then also Main Place Mall and some downtown people do some promotion. So, that's kind of the options we have. You can hire somebody to work with those groups. You can use the chamber, or maybe you can have the chamber work with the downtown people in Main Place.
So what I would recommend is perhaps you've heard some of the feedback of the council. Maybe you can take some of that input and some of that feedback and start working with that. Maybe come back with I'd say more a memo and let us know how you want to go ahead, what you see as most.
Let me make a suggestion and see if it flies. Let's assume we take a portion of this money, half, to say a figure, 500,000 or so. Propose that we reach out to the Chamber of Commerce, the Downtown Association, Main Place Mall, because I understand that some of those want to go out and hire a private company to help them with economic development. But that we kind of put the money out there. May they want to match it or do something like that, they might be able to do so. Have the city manager and others reach out and then come back to us in the near future and see if there's a proposal there. But we take the first step today to say, look, we're interested in this. If you guys want to come in and work with us, what I want is for it not to take 2 years and we're still defining and meeting and et cetera, et cetera. I think the private sector can do this very well. I think they have some ideas already. Let's see if they can come back with a proposal. And today all we say is, we're willing to take, $500,000 out of the $1 million and put it towards that effort if it can come together.
Is that a motion?
That is a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, I have 2 seconds, so it's got a good chance of passing. All right, with that, those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. So we'll wait to hear back from you, Ms. City Manager, as to those efforts.
And then the next item, are you taking this? So the next one, just for context, is a safety and prosperity initiative that was also recommended as an 85A by several members of the council. It was approved in the budget. There are a lot of issues out there with regard to our young people promoting safety. So this is an effort to provide funding and develop partnerships in this area. Jorge?
Thank you, Mayor, members of the City Council. We're calling this initiative the Community Enhancement Program Grant. The program is designed to fund nonprofit public services that support health, human, and/or quality of life services to the residents of Santa Ana. This could be a new service or an expansion of existing service. The funding for this is $500,000. We would recommend a cap of $125,000 per project with a 12-month project period. We'd anticipate to fund hopefully between 4 to 6 projects with that. The nonprofit application process for this would initially be reviewed by staff for initial qualifications, and it would align with the Santa Ana strategic plan goals. This would align with goal number 5. So with that, we would take those initial applications that have qualified and have a rating panel evaluate them based on a point system. Once again, this point system would align with the strategic plan, the submittal, the goals, and the timeline, and any past performance. The recommendations would then be presented to the City Council for approval. In terms of the strategic plan alignment, the programs must align. The strategic plan alignment questions are incorporated into the application, so the applicants must submit how they're going to meet the strategic plan alignment. We do have 2 areas in the strategic plan, those that are funded and those that are unfunded. If the applicant were to submit for an unfunded item, they would receive higher points than for an item that is already funded. The eligible criteria areas are community safety, crime prevention, homelessness services, traffic, pedestrian, bicycle safety, water safety, fire safety prevention. Under youth education and recreation, eligible programs would be youth sports programs, career pathways, programs that reduce high school dropout rates, continuing education, mentoring, and recreation. And under community health, livability, engagement, and sustainability, programs that measure with measures to address water conservation and energy efficiency, neighborhood improvement initiatives, strengthen, expand, or stabilize funding for the arts, integrate health and wellness programs into the city community or recreation centers, implement health and wellness programming, and the expansion of senior center programming to expand art, culture, and health. The current proposed timeline for this would be that we would release the application next week, September 26th. We would hold an application workshop to answer questions for the community. Applications would be due on or about October 21st. October through November, we would complete our evaluation process, and then we would bring those back to the mayor and city council for consideration on December 6th. With that, we're available for questions.
Any questions from council members? If not, let me thank you for the report, and let's go back to our agenda. I have some. Go ahead.
Self-explanatory. Run with it. Good.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion.
Thank you.
Let's go ahead and hit the ground running. Great suggestions, and let's.
Just a quick comment. Why? Who came up with the amount of $125,000 per project?
That was just the ceiling. Normally, our grants don't go higher than that. It would encourage at least 4 people to be successful. So that's where we came up to it.
Right. I guess to me,
but you can make it 75 or 100.
The number looks a little arbitrary to me. I don't see what what logic is behind it. So just to the extent that, I mean, if we could have 10 projects at 50,000, then that's as good as 4 to 6 projects at 125. In other words, I think that who we want to work with are people who can leverage these monies with their own, just like we were talking about previously. It's a matter of partnering with people.
Thank you. The 125 is a maximum. So nobody could go, we recommend nobody gets more than 125.
So the increments could vary.
It could be 50, 25.
Understood. Thank you.
No problem.
All right, so do we have a motion to receive and file? Or?
Yes.
I think it's, yeah.
We're looking for action.
All right, so we have a motion for action, correct, Councilor Martinez?
Second.
Yes.
Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, those opposed, motion carries. So now I have some speakers. Let me go to some speakers, and then we'll come back to council. Beth Mays and David Bracey from Anaheim University, followed by Rebecca Cousins, and then Victor Payan. Go ahead.
Hello. My name is Beth Mays, and I'm the Student Services Coordinator for Anaheim University. It may surprise you to know that Anaheim has a nationally accredited online university, and we are currently celebrating our 20-year anniversary. We've been known globally as a pioneer in online education, specializing in graduate education since 1996, yet very few of our neighbors even know that we exist. So we want to invite you all to celebrate 20 years with us. Our president, Dr. Andrew Honeycutt, has approved a 40% tuition discount on our online MBA and Masters of Entrepreneurship programs for Orange County residents and workers who enroll by the end of next March. We invite you to visit us at our admissions office on State College Boulevard or at our center at Tustin and La Palma to learn more about our history and the advantages of online learning. Our student services staff can answer any question you may have about our programs. We would love to see Santa Ana residents become more involved with our university, and we look forward to seeing you soon.
My name is David Bracey. I'm also from Anaheim University, and I'd also like to follow up on what my colleague Beth just said. Anaheim University is known for having the first fully online graduate program on the West Coast. We now have students all over the world in 40 different countries, with graduates working at Fortune 500 companies. And with our ongoing relationship with the Retired NBA Players Association, we have several former professional athletes studying in our MBA. And regarding the scholarship for the Master of Business Administration degree program, the 40% discount for those who live or work in Orange County will be in effect until March 31st, 2017. It's a very special scholarship that I hope many Santa Ana residents are able to take advantage of. The MBA can be achieved in 18 months. With our payment plan, students pay as they learn and graduate debt-free without having to take out a private loan or be tied down by government loans. We believe people should be able to advance their academic credentials and their career without having to go into debt. And we hope by making education affordable, this can help to give back to our neighbors here in Santa Ana by improving the business skills of the workforce. Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming down, and thank you for the good work that you're doing.
Thank you.
Rebecca, and after Rebecca, Victor. Victor, if you can stand behind Rebecca, you'll be right up. And after that, Thomas Anthony Gordon.
Good evening, esteemed council members and Mayor Polito of Santa Ana. My name is Rebecca Cousins, and I am a policy analyst with the Alliance for a Healthy Orange County, or AHOC. I presented to you all at the last council meeting regarding the process for approval for the CIP and information on the proportion of city spending directed towards designated active transportation projects. Today, I am here to request that the council consider creating and appointing a Complete Streets Mobility Commission and to suggest policy to increase bike parking in Santa Ana. A written version of the material I am presenting can be seen in the handouts provided to the council. The purpose of the Complete Streets Mobility Commission would be, 1, to preserve or enhance neighborhood character and desired community attributes by fulfilling the plans suggested in the Santa Ana General Plan circulation element and incorporating community opinions for bicycle and pedestrian priorities. And 2, to help the city of Santa Ana make its streets safe for all users of all ages and abilities, including pedestrians, bicyclists, motorists, and other users. Additional benefits of creating a Complete Streets and Mobility Commission and examples of existing commissions in other cities can be referenced in the handout. Secondly, I would like to request that the city consider creating an ordinance or policy that qualifies secure bike parking to satisfy Santa Ana's city vehicle parking requirements. Long Beach, Portland, LA, and Santa Monica are among the many cities that have successfully passed similar ordinances. Additionally, cities have found that this effort has both increased profits at local businesses and helped encourage healthier lifestyle choices of community members. Additional information about the impact of this policy and details about each city's bike parking ordinances can also be seen in the handout. Lastly, I would like again to thank the community, council members, and staff for coming together to support active transportation. With everyone's continued teamwork and support, the Complete Streets portion of Santa Ana's circulation element will be able to reach its full potential. Thank you for your time this evening. I am available for follow-up with you and your staff on these important issues.
Thank you, Rebecca. Victor, followed by Thomas, followed by Tish Leon.
All right, hello, council members, city manager, staff. I'm here to invite you all to the opening of the 7th OC Film Fiesta this October 13th at the Bowers Museum. We've put together a really great festival, and I want to tell you a little bit about it. We're starting with a Juan Gabriel tribute, one of his films that he was in, Que le dijiste adios, and we've got some special invited guests. And the entire evening includes Thirsty Thursday at the Bowers, the happy hour they have, Virgen de Guadalupe exhibit, the film, and an after party at the Green Parrot, which will be Noa Noa themed, and it's all-you-can-eat tacos. So that alone is worth the price of the pass right there. But we also are developing really great partnership with Santa Arts, and we're going to be having some community screenings in conjunction with Santa Ana Unified. We're going to be having some free pop-up screenings for the community. We're going to be we're focusing on North Main, so we're also doing screenings with a bicycle tree and whatnot. We're also doing a spotlight on Bolivia. We have Bolivia's only silent film and a tribute to its greatest director, Jorge Sanginés. We have some great documentaries, including a documentary about a Hawaiian community mural program, which is really beautiful, as well as a documentary called No Mas Bebés about sterilizations of Latina women in LA and in the 60s and 70s. And so I just wanted to let you know that we have a lot going on, and again to thank the City Council for support of the festival in its early years and continuing. I think artistic economic development is something that's really strong, and we're investing in the future of this community as well, working with organizations and just continuing to grow. And we're also looking at showing a 60th anniversary screening of James Dean's film Giant, which he was in. So. I don't know if any of you else were there in 56, but we'll have a nice event. So you can get tickets online at ocfilmfiesta.org. You can buy tickets individually for the Bowers screenings. We're doing a free screening with the Big Read at the Bowers also. And just wanted to say that we're gearing up for our best festival yet. And like I said, you're all invited. Please help spread the word. And October 13th is the opening night. So hopefully you can make it to the Bowers.
Thank you very much, Victor, and you are tireless and you do a lot of good work, and thank you for your efforts. Thomas, sir.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, City Manager, and staff. I came down here tonight because recently, poor little defenseless me, friendly guy, had a knife pulled on me in the Civic Center. So, I just think that the lawlessness, the chaos, and the anarchy that rules supreme outside is out of control. We have metal detectors to get in here, but we have people that walking around outside with pocket knives that are pulling them on people for no apparent reason. So I brought these down. I think maybe you guys should all I'm not reaching for anything crazy, but they just hand these out. They hand these out. So you guys can, if you want needles, you can go pick them up. No questions asked. Why haven't we stopped that? Why hasn't that been put on hold and say no more? Not today. It's not going to happen. You declared an emergency resolution about the health and safety crisis outside, which truly exists. It smells like urine. It smells like feces. They're handing out syringes, and there's people with weapons pulling them on defenseless, friendly people like myself, and it's not changing. It needs to stop, and it needs to stop today. I've been told that the state will sue the city of Santa Ana. I say bring it on. Sue us. Our citizens that live here, our residents, the children deserve better than to have people walking around with syringes filled with HIV and hepatitis being left all over our city. People with pocket knives attacking people for no apparent reasons. It needs to stop, and it needs to stop today. Resolutions are meaningless. Action is what we're looking for in the city of Santa Ana. It's dangerous outside. You have employees that have to walk through it. You have children that have to walk through it to get to the library. And you have syringes, you have weapons, and unhealthy situations outside. I implore you to do something immediately. Stop the needle handout immediately, please, for the children.
Thank you. Tish, followed by Robert Tagslin and Aya Tagslin.
It's tough following Thomas and Mike so high. But anyways, first I'm here to thank you for giving the $1,000 grant for the Santa Ana Senior Fair that we're going to be doing October 1st. And I'm here to invite you all. I have sent you emails already, but I'm here to personally invite you to the first annual International Older Adults Fair. It's a mouthful, but one of the things that I'm sure you all are familiar with now is that I've become the senior advocate for the city. And one of the things that many of the programs and the economic development, the funds are a lot for the youth. And I know that there was a little piece in there for the seniors, but I really want you to remember that the seniors is a growing population. You're going to be there pretty soon. I just got there this year. So it creeps up on you before you know it. Those services are really important to keep our seniors active. And one of the most important things, especially because many of you are running for re-election or you're going to be running, we vote. Okay, the youth, they're still young. We're nurturing them, which is great because they are going to be our leaders in the future. But right now, we vote. And so it's really important that you keep us in mind, you keep these services going. Really, please come to the event. We're going to have the talent show, which is going to be the seniors that are going to be performing. We have a lot of talented seniors. It's amazing the diversity that we have. We have such a large Chinese population, Filipinos, African American, and so it's really important to come and see the presentation. We're going to be having health fair there as well. We're going to have screenings and different resources there for the seniors. We're also going to be having a food truck there for the meals for the seniors. So I'm asking for the people out in TV land right now watching us that we're looking for sponsors to sponsor for the seniors for their lunches. The lunches are only going to be $5, and so we're asking the people to sponsor 5, 10, 20, as many as people can afford. And so we're still looking for talented seniors, so if you know of anybody, please send them our way. And thanks, and looking forward to seeing all of you there. Thank you.
Thank you. Robert? Aya, you're going to go first?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor Polida and
respectful, Pulido, I'm sorry, and respectful Santa Ana City Council members. My name is Ilya Tseglin. My family have a great respect to Chief of Santa Ana Police, Rojas. And we want to ask him and an honest his employee to help to save life of my son, who in group home supported or funded by Mafia CEO of Orange County Regional Center. It's really they can help. Since last time when was this family welfare check, these people, I don't have the word say that this human being, they stopped to choke my son. So it's very helpful when police are working together with family. Because before they, every time choke him until he passed out. But now we have a still very dangerous problem. They give him specially the CEO of regional center who is bribe most official of county, including judges and public defender. He now poisoning my son with drugs completely not related to his condition. And what the puppet show you can see in the court. Instead of public defender and judges should serve public, they serve only CEO of regional center who is a czar of the mafia. They even did not ask public defender what is the opinion of your clients. They don't care. They care only how to better please CEO of regional center. This is not justice, it's not constitutional, it's not law, it's completely mafia type of...
if you can conclude it's red.
I'm sorry?
The light is red.
Oh, I'm
so
sorry.
it's Robert's
turn.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, Honorable Mayor Polito and City Councilors Robert Seglin, brother Nate Seglin. As I've stated previously, my brother Nate Seglin was kidnapped from by the Irvine Police Department twice in the same 22 Creek Road home. Released 3 times by habeas corpus by 3 different judges. The last time he was released was on December 31st, 2013, by a commissioner who denied the petition, and by the Judge Mary Finkel-Schulte, who released him on habeas corpus upon the testimony of an expert doctor who said he shouldn't be placed in an institution and enforced on drugs, as the regional center has repeatedly sent reports to the police and social services, who removed him from the home and kidnapped him again and again. And this can be verified by, you can just type in the case number, probate case number 8246780. A as in Apple, 246780, you'll see that the whole case, you will see from 2007 to now, 3 times he was released on habeas corpus, and in the middle you have the regional center in San Diego first trying to petition to remove conservatorship, and that was denied, and my parents were assumed conservators, and then all the way 3 times he was released on habeas corpus, and nevertheless, despite that 3 releases, they in contempt of res judicata, in contempt of the decision to release him, they said, "Oh, we're going to find another judge." They fished for Judge Hubbard, and in July they had a trial and removed conservatorship illegally, of course, but they rely on the fact that we had a took time to procure the transcript to prove that, well, first of all, you don't need to procure the transcript. It was illegal. They used litigated evidence. Bottom line is he's been illegally confined in the 903 South Harmon Santa Ana group home, enforced on concoction of psychotropic drugs, including Zyprexa, and now it's been Depakote for approximately over 6 months. 2 psychotropic drugs. Obviously, psychotropic drugs he shouldn't be on, but is used to illegally confine him and warehouse him, and his reports of seizures and EPS and his rapidly decreasing condition, deteriorating condition is denied by the public defender's office, so it's would be appreciated that the police, when they do write reports, that does alarm them, is because the police do have some jurisdiction and power to move forward with charges against them. But now the issue is the drugging and the illegal drugging, which is under the jurisdiction of the judges to remove the public defender, the public defender's office, who...
Robert, your time is up.
So that would be my goal, that Santa Ana Police would continue in the right direction to help him be released. Thank you.
Thank you. Frank Cortez, followed by Michael Jankowski. Go ahead. Go whatever order you want.
Sorry about that. My name's Michael Jankowski. Thank you for allowing me to be here. Mayor, City Council members, City Manager. My wife and I have been living in the city of Santa Ana on the West End District for 13 years, raising our children. And there's several other children and families in our neighborhood of West Street, Hazard, and Celeste, and several other little areas within that neighborhood. And throughout the years we've noticed there is prostitution on the street of Harbor throughout the years. But now, within the last year, it's in our neighborhood. I mean, grossly horrible prostitution and a lot of other illegal activity, drugs, and other things going on. Back in May, my wife and I decided to take it upon ourselves to go throughout our neighborhood, and we had drew up some flyers. I don't have that flyer with me, but we handed out flyers throughout the whole neighborhood, encouraging our neighbors to call the police whenever they see prostitutes, pimps, or possible cars that may look like they have pimps, and also a lot of the traffic that is stopping us from getting out of our driveways. And so with that, we decided to ask some neighbors, sorry, I'm a little nervous. We asked some neighbors if they want to draw up some letters along with our letter. That after that, we had gone to the chief of police, which at that time we spoke with Sergeant Gonzalez, who graciously spent some good time with us, took our letters and our petition, and spoke with Chief of Police, and then we also were able to speak with Commander Gominski, and at that time I had sent each one of you a copy of these letters, and I would like to read one letter by a 14-year-old child. Well, I guess I'm not going to have a lot of time, but he just went on to explain how he sees this going on, and I have pictures of rubbers, condoms, every day in front of my neighborhood. I guess I'm out of time.
Yeah, but let Frank continue, because I know he's here to
Yes.
talk about the same thing and back you up. Go ahead, Frank.
Good evening. My name is Fred Cortez, and it's about the same issue. You know,
I know we don't have too much time, and we send letters to every one of you, I guess, and in the past few weeks. So, not to take a long time, I just want to know, we knock a lot of doors where we don't have any response. I would like to know tonight, where can I go to talk to so they can help us? Because maybe this is not very important for you people, but it's very important for us. It's not fair that the kids that go to school are kicking condoms and all other stuff like that, out of the sidewalk. This has been going, very bad for the last 18 months. We had a meeting on Hazard School like a year and a half ago, and the chief of police at that time promised to help us, but instead, it's been getting worse and worse. Now, like he says, they're going in our driveways and everywhere, all the neighborhood. It's a lot of sex traffic, all over. And we're just tired of that. It's not fair. And like I say, I would like to know where or who's going to help us on this matter, that I can make an appointment and go talk with more time.
Well, two things. One, you met with the chief. He's here. Maybe before you go, coordinate with the city manager. We'll follow up. And also, why is mayor and the council members in the ward and in those areas? We're all concerned. We're all concerned. So before you leave, there he is. He heard me talking. Frank, you and Michael go meet with him again. And then the city manager is sitting right there, and then we'll follow up as well. And David, you want to say something?
Well, that's what I was going to ask. From the public safety committee standpoint, I was going to request actually precisely that the chief come out and follow up, talk to the gentleman here directly. And then, as the mayor mentioned, it is something that is a concern to all of us on the council. And you're right. You or the kids in your community, you as family members, as residents, there should not have to deal with that. Unfortunately, it's something we've been battling for many, many years. However, we do need to look at immediate response that we can take, and I do request Mr. City Manager if he could provide us with an update on the council on action that will be taken to address this matter. And again, we'd like to have the police chief to follow up again and speak to the gentleman tonight.
He's right over there.
Yeah, okay. Just the last thing I want to say, with all due respect, I just want to say that any of you here, if you would have this problem in front of your house, you would have taken care of it next day. I'm sorry, but that's the truth. But please don't forget us. Don't look at us only when you need the vote.
Thank you, Frank. Now, Council, Ms. City Manager, do you have any comment, any report?
Only one item, Mayor, very quickly. I just wanted to ask Julie to put up that slide. I guess we are very, very happy. We'll leave it up there even after I talk. We had an amazing event in downtown last weekend, Savor Santa Ana, and I want to thank the sponsors and the organizers for the event. And I know there's some pictures. Michelle was there and others, and it was very well attended, and it really represented the best in Santa Ana. And I want the public that's watching this program to know how much we care about downtown Santa Ana. Thank you.
Thank you. Michelle?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I will start on the issue that the residents just brought up right now, and I've mentioned it to our police chief, to our city manager, and to all of you in the past, is that we don't have a vice unit, and the vice unit for the police department deals with prostitution, deals with these drug issues, and I think if we're going to want to address this issue, we're going to have to reinstate the vice unit. And, we talked about allocating money from a surplus fund to last year's budget. I asked in this fiscal year budget, what are we doing about reinstating the vice unit and the importance of having a specialized unit like that to be able to address prostitution. It's not only on Harbor, it's on First Street as well. And so
This problem is not unique to Harbor, nor is it unique to First Street. This is where prostitution is occurring in these two areas, and I'm assuming it's probably occurring in other places of our city, and we need to find a solution. We can't continue to tell the residents that our police department is going to look into it. We all know that we're doing our best to hire as many cops as possible, and I know it doesn't just happen overnight. There's a process to hire those police officers, but at the same time, if we really want to address this issue, we need to figure out a way of how do we reinstate the vice unit, that's what they will be doing to targeting this specific problem that is causing huge concerns out in our community. The second thing that I would like to make mention, that I received phone calls from our residents again about the code enforcement issue. When are we going to continue to do our best to continue to hire more code enforcement? Yes, our police department is vital and we're doing our best to hire more cops, but the code enforcement also play a major role in the quality of life of our residents. We don't have enough of them. They are spread very thin, and we're starting to get more and more calls over the quality of life in our different residential areas. And so whether it's Dave Lopez on the West End, and I know he's not only reaching out to me, he's reaching out to many of you on the council with their concerns, in particular on the West End, as it pertains to a lot of the issues that many residents have addressed here tonight and in past meetings. The other thing that I would, and I made mention, and I actually sent an email to our city manager and our city attorney, is to give us an update. Another concern is the food trucks, right? And our food produce trucks. What are we doing with that? This is 9 years in the making for me that I've been on this city council. We have yet come to any conclusions of how we're going to address this issue. When we talk about the quality of life, this is an issue that has been brought up to us. I know our city attorney, Alvaro Nunez, our supervisor with code enforcement, has been addressing this. I know we have a lot of other pressing issues that are occurring in our community. I get it that we can only spread our employees so thin. But when issues like this continue to rise, you know, we have to realize that it's a top, it may not be a top priority to this council or our staff, but it's a top priority to the residents. And so I'm hopeful. I did get an email response from Alvaro that something should be coming before this city council to make a decision on what are we going to do with the food produce trucks, and then as well with the catering gourmet trucks, and proposing some different kind of ordinances or resolutions, whatever have you, to move forward to addressing this specific issue. And so I just hope that that does come before us so that we can have some kind of resolution in moving forward with that item. The last thing that I want to make mention, you know, over the weekend, and you know, there have been gang shootings, and I know at the last council meeting, our city manager, police chief provided update and statistics about the you know, about crime in our city, and I made mention about, you know, people's perceptions become people's realities. And so as we continue to see this in the paper, in the newspaper, that these incidents are continuing to occur in our city, I just ask of you, Mr. City Manager, of how do we get in front of this and communicating with our residents? What is our plan? Look, we understand that there are gang problems in our community. Young kids are dying on our streets. We need to figure out a way, and again, our police chief and our police department, you know, they are doing what they can with the resources that they have, but it doesn't mean that we can't work hand in hand with our community to making sure that they continue to feel safe in these specific neighborhoods. And yes, good things are happening in this city, but we also have to acknowledge that we do have issues that are currently occurring here that can cause alarmed for some residents that will come here and speak, whether it be the prostitution issue, whether it be the drug issue. There are residents contacting us about, the shootings that we've had all year long. And so it's not just it happened last week or this week, that it's been continuing to happen. And what is the plan to help, combat this? This is something that is not going to go away, and that we need to figure out a way of how do we work together with the community and, our police department to help address this and really alleviate some of the anxiety that a lot of the residents have, specifically in those areas of concern. And then lastly, I did want to highlight that Madison neighborhood, and I know that's in Mayor Pro Tem's neck of the woods, they're having their annual walkathon, and just wanting to make sure that we are all able to go out there and help celebrate, the work that the neighborhood association has been doing. And that walk is this Saturday. I think, they will start that walk around 8:30, 8:45. And so for any more questions, I'm certainly know that our staff could help provide that information. But it is this Saturday, the Madison Walkathon. And with that, thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Tinajero, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First and foremost, thank you to the staff for putting that report together. A lot of the times, I don't think we realize how much time and effort it takes to put a report together and then to have a presentation and take on so many questions. So thank you for that. I think I like to reflect on where we're at today. And I think that something that I've enjoyed watching is we have a lot of young talent that has been coming up through the ranks in our city establishment. And it's something that is going to benefit us in the long run. So I want to thank the leadership here. It's nice to see that the fruits of our labor are starting to come to fruition when it comes to our economic standing. This council made a lot of difficult decisions that we were criticized for when we made them. And we brought in a whole new staff in here, and I want to applaud not just the council for their vision and their resiliency during those hard times where we had to make tough decisions, but also to our staff for making things work to the point where we're making decisions on how we're going to spend money versus making decisions on how we're going to cut positions. So I don't know if you remember this, Councilmember Benavides, when we had our SEIU members who we were going to lay off. We were going to lay off about 10 or 11 of them. And I remember exactly what you said. You said, when I see them coming up to speak, it reminds me of my dad, because my dad worked in those jobs and how difficult that was for us to have to make those decisions. So we have issues, and we're going to continue to have issues, and we're going to continue to address them. And I think that's something that the public needs to know, is that we inherited this horrible economic situation, and it was this council that got us out of it. It was this staff that got us out of it. When there's issues, we've dealt with them head first, and we're going to continue to do that. So yes, do we have issues today? Absolutely. But I trust in this council that we're going to continue to move forward and address those issues, and I trust in the staff. One of the things little stories that I like to tell is I was going to, as you know, I now work for the Santa Ana Unified School District, so I'm really excited in being able to bring the speech and debate program here. It's like a dream come true. I'm going to use one of the city manager's sayings. I feel like I'm on top of the world right now, being able to do that. But for those of you guys that know that, but something that I think it's important to note is that I've always said this about this council, is that if you look at the people in this council, you look at Councilmember Amezcua, you look at Roman Reina, everybody here is working with kids. We are all invested in our community. We all want to increase the quality of life, and we don't just sit up here and talk about it. We're in the community doing it in our own way. And so what happens the other day, I'm at Willard Intermediate School. They're getting their program started. They have a small little group, and they're looking at how they can grow. And as I'm parking my car, I looked out there, and I looked out, and I said, that guy walks a little funny. It looks like Roman Reina, right? So I get out of my car, and I walk over. I said, and he has his car parked right in front of the school. And I said, what are you doing? He says, I found someone who was willing to donate backpacks. So I came over to Willard, and I brought over 100 backpacks. That's the kind of individual you have sitting up here. No one up here, we're not, these council members, we're not trying to get, no one's getting wealthy. Everyone's rolling up their sleeves and working to make this a better community. We're always going to have challenges, but I stand with the people on this dais in addressing those issues as well. And the passion that Councilmember Martinez brings to the dais, it ignites other people to get moving. And you just have to focus on people's talents here. So I'm just, as we go into the fall, I'm just really excited about where we are financially so that we can address these problems. If we didn't have the ability to have the finance to address these problems, we'd be in a world of hurt. And so also, I don't know if you've noticed, but on a different note, there's some serious football play going on in our city. I mean, we're talking about rivalries. We're talking about filling up stands. I think just a few weeks ago, homecoming's coming. Just a few weeks ago, one of our schools was ranked #1 by the Orange County Register for their cheering section. So keep an eye out. I think there's some great things that are going to happen. And anytime you have great sports in our city, it just encourages other people to participate, and that's what we've always wanted to do. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I think, I want to talk about some things that are a little lighter. And I think the council member mentioned the walkathon over at Madison Park. So it's going to be a busy Saturday morning, because if we start there at about 8 or 8:30, then we have the seniors over here in the downtown. So we want to go visit both of those. But, with the film fiesta coming up in October, and I want to compliment the staff for this past weekend's Fiestas Patrias, which were, very, very successful. And I think that, people had a great time. The parade was very busy. I saw on the route that both sides of the street were extremely full, and the weather cooperated. It wasn't quite so hot as it has been in past years, but it was a fun event. A lot of people came out. So, it's never easy, and people sometimes take it for granted to put on that big of an event. And it's not easy logistically, so a job well done to our staff. So thank you all for helping on that, because I know it's just the number of people that attend, and I just don't remember seeing anybody causing any harm, getting into any trouble. People were eating, people were listening to music, and having a good time, taking pictures. And so that's what you want to see. And so I know there was a time back when people said, "Oh, you don't want to have that large an event in Santa Ana because the crowd can't handle it." And that was pretty offensive. And I do remember that time when we would be talking about that. But I want to thank our residents, because it's also on them. They care about their city. I think we all conduct ourselves with, respect and with, dignity. And I think there's always elements of folks who don't behave well, but that happens in any community. And I think that we have to understand we have a very law-abiding community, and for that we're blessed. So I just want to say thank you for that. The last thing on the issue of our department, we need to continue, our police department, we need to continue to increase our numbers there, and we all are in agreement. I think those things are what's going to address the concerns of what's happening in neighborhoods, like the gentleman mentioned, things that are happening in the Civic Center. But we've had units in the past, and sometimes we realize that we're just short-staffed. Now we can address a lot of those issues, and now I think we're just getting back to the point where we can address some of the deferred services and staffing and maintenance that we have. So we're not out of this hole yet. It's going to take a while, because it took a while to get to where we were, and it's going to take a while for us to dig ourselves out. But with that, good night to everybody.
Thank you. Councilor Ramuesca, please.
Thank you, Mayor. I also had the opportunity to attend the Savor Santa Ana event on Friday night, and it was a very successful event. I actually ran into Julie and Robert there, and Councilmember Benavidez was there as well. And I just want to take a moment to thank the sponsors. The food was great, the music, very successful event. And also, I do want to take a moment to thank Rose Ann Trujillo for her 29 years of service and congratulate her on her retirement. Wish her well. And with that, everyone have a good night.
Thank you. Councilman Moreno?
Great. Absolutely. It was a great event this past weekend. Unfortunately, I didn't see too many of you, but it was great food, though. And no offense, I wasn't there to see you. I was there to eat the food, and it was great. I didn't say none of it was there. I didn't see you. I was eating food, so it was fantastic. The 4th Street Marketplace, the little tater tots with the meat. Oh my God, that was just fantastic. Great. Can't wait to go back. So continue to shop in downtown Santa Ana. You explore and you find these little nooks and crannies that are absolutely jewels of our community, and you really don't realize it until you go out there and look. So I was very grateful for that evening. It was a great event across the board. As I always say, we live in a desert, so make sure you be water-wise. I know it doesn't necessarily seem like it. It was light drizzle the other day, but we're nowhere close to being out of this drought, so we still need to be water-wise as much as humanly possible. As we're coming up this weekend is a lot of events going on, and one of them is the Logan Neighborhood Association. They have their annual celebration and potluck, so if you have some time, if you're from the Logan area at Chepas Park, they're going to be having activities going on from 10 to 3, 10 to 4. It's always a great event. Looking forward to seeing some friends I haven't seen in a while. So if you have some time, please come on down. Also, you heard earlier that we're going to have a senior citizens talent show on October 1st. Also, October 1st is the school district's parent meeting over at Saddleback. So it's going to be a great turnout. A lot of our parents will get more information about how our students go to college and what that process looks like, and how to get some additional assistance to try to help those students get to that next level, which is, again, just absolutely phenomenal. I, too, want to share some congratulations to Roseanne Trujillo. I had an opportunity to meet her when I started it off with Parks and Rec, watching her grow into different capacities, and sad to see her leave. I said, one more year, just one more year, you can get 30. And she said, but unfortunately, we'll be missing her, and thank you so much for all your time and energy, and personally, thank you for some of the guidance that you've blessed me with growing up within the community and Parks and Rec specifically. So I couldn't do it without a lot of surrogate mothers and fathers, and I'm really grateful for that. At the very end, Shop Santa Ana. It's a very beautiful place to shop, and it's a great way for us to raise some additional tax revenue to cover some of the cost of all these different activities and programs that we're talking about. One of the programs we're talking about are youth programs, and we all know that I'm a big advocate for youth, and believe that an ounce of prevention beats a pound of cure. And this is one of the reasons why I was advocating for the unknown fund surplus next year be advocated for both enforcement as well as intervention and prevention. Unfortunately, I wasn't championing on that particular cause, but this is exactly why we need to be championing this, to stop this from happening. You can't just pick it up when it's a hot topic. It's too easy to do that. But to roll up your sleeves on an everyday basis to see that these children are going to grow up, and they're going to be positive or they're going to go negative. They're going to be using those drugs that are right there, those needles are in front of us, or they're going to be sitting behind this dais one day. And we truly need to invest in those young people. And with that, thank you so very much.
Thank you. Councilman Benavides, please. Thank you, Mayor. And I also want to congratulate and thank Roseanne for her dedication to the city. Although, I don't know, Councilman Rainey, you're making yourself sound quite a bit younger when you talk about some of these folks and referring to them as surrogate mothers when I think you're at a minimum a peer, if not could potentially have been a mentor to Roseanne. But anyhow, there are a lot of wonderful things taking place here in the beautiful city of Santa Ana that we get to live and serve in. Last weekend, Savor Santa Ana was just one of those examples. So many just different people from all over the county and the region coming out, but our local folks here enjoying some of our own local restaurants, and there's a variety of different cuisines and new restaurants opening up. So it was a wonderful thing to experience. And I did see a number of folks, including the mayor, out there enjoying a good time, and I'm glad that you were out there experiencing that as well, Councilman Reyna. So you can find new restaurants, new places to come and spend your money in, and shop and support, again, local businesses. A couple of things that I did want to address in addition to that, and also Fiestas Patrias, wonderful work by the part of our staff by putting just a great event together yet again. There have been some comments tonight with reference to the ongoing challenge related to the homeless issues around the Civic Center. I'm glad that we did have that item on the agenda where we were able to designate prioritize and designate some funds towards safety and security. I did want to also acknowledge at the end of the day, and some of the comments that I made last time we got together, is that this is
and we've mentioned this before, and I think we're all in agreement here, this is a regional issue. It isn't something that Santa Ana City alone should shoulder. We definitely need the cooperation and collaboration of different cities. Our neighbors across the street, the county, are critical, and I know that was part of what was the intent in highlighting that, and seeing the letter from Frank Kim here in reiterating that they're willing to and committed to working with us. And I just want to continue to stress, the city manager, that anything and everything that we can do to continue to bring the county to the table to demonstrate our commitment, as we have been doing, and to engage them not only in dialogue but in practical, next step solutions. How we're going to be able to take care of this together. I know that they've designated and prioritized the Santa Ana Transit Terminal as an immediate and hopefully temporary response. But we do need to look at what that permanent response and location is going to be. There was a reference to a parcel of land out on the what was referred to as Alton Yard, and I believe staff is going to be looking into that, and I'd like to just follow that back up to ensure that we do analyze that possibility, any other possibilities. Clearly, they've made an investment over in the city of Anaheim, and they just recently awarded who the operator of that facility is going to be. We clearly have the needs here. We want to make sure that some of those funds are committed here as well in an adequate location. I will, echo some of the comments that some of our speakers last week mentioned, that the transit terminal is not the ideal location for a permanent facility. Definitely something for temporary. But we went through the whole SB2 zoning. Let's identify something within that and work proactively to making that happen. In partnership with the city, with the county. I want to also follow up some number of meetings back. We made some comment with regard to the security that we have here and the wanding of youth. I know it came to mind because we had some youth here today. And I know we've had some discussion around having more discretion around not necessarily having to do the metal detector wanding for youth, and also having the walk through metal detectors. Because we're in here, and by the time meetings take place, I'm not sure exactly how it's functioning out there. Don't know if you have an update yet on that, but wanted to see if we can get an update and progress on that. I'm glad that we are moving forward. That the council voted to support the community enhancement program for the community groups, specifically opportunities for our youth. There have been some comments here today, and this is specifically actually responding to an action step that we are taking to be able to invest in our young people, creating opportunities and programs for them. So with that, there's one other item. There's some last item I'll mention. There are opportunities as well, whether it be pocket parks, urban agriculture, kind of community gardens, a number of different things in some of these surplus parcels of land. There's some discussion that a few of us are having with community groups. Looking forward to some discussion opportunities and maybe even some investment of some of the surplus funds that we might be that we have here as a city that we'll be looking to allocate. I think there's some opportunities for us to be able to continue to again invest in our community for the long haul. With that, have a great evening. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you everybody for all the comments. I just want to mention that Sabor Santa Ana in particular was a lot of fun. There were a lot of different activities, music, not only the restaurants open, but galleries as well. And it was much larger than other events because it was the West End, the East End. It was on 4th Street, but it also went over to 3rd and 2nd Street, and then some, folks going over to Original Mike's over on 1st and Main. So it was just a very, very positive event. I know that there were 27 restaurants participating, and I think that's a tribute to all the efforts over the years to build up the downtown and the Artist Village, and Now it's catching real momentum. And yes, Councilman Avides and others I know were there, and it was a lot of fun. So with and the lines were really long. Like if you went over to the 4th Street right there at the 4th Street Marketplace, the lines were like 30 and 40 deep. It was really, really long. I mean, it almost was too much success. But I think you can't really have that. And it was very positive. And with that, this meeting is adjourned.